A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Yes, it's the Goldbergs. Well, today I want to talk to just those ladies who are haunted by the OFSH.
What do you mean, haunted by the OFSH?
Why, the old-fashioned soap habit. You know, some women just can't seem to throw off the habit of using the same old-fashioned granulated soaps year after year.
Well, what can you do about that?
Oh, plenty. I just tell them about New Does, the new kind of granulated soap. You see, Does all three kinds of wash, from dirty wash shirts and heavy towels to rayon undies.
What? But you don't mean there's a new granulated soap safe enough for rayon slip and it will get my towels white, too?
Well, I certainly do. Does everything in the wash.
My, well, I don't wonder some ladies find that hard to believe.
Well, maybe you got that old-fashioned soap habit, too, but just you try New Does, and you'll find it's different from any of the other leading granulated laundry soaps you've been using.
How's that?
Because Does is so much safer. Safer for all the pretty colors and your nice rayon slips and lingerie. Yet this same Does gets those towels of yours really white.
Well, they'll have to be just dazzling white to suit me.
They will be. In fact, you've never seen whiter washes than New Does gives you. Why, Does gets clothes whiter, far whiter than any number of other soaps.
Now, look, if that means lots of scrubbing, I'm not interested.
But there's no hard scrubbing, no boiling either. Why, no soap made gets clothes white easier than New Does.
Well, say, I guess this new Does really must be different.
It is. Just you try Does, and you'll see it's a really new kind of granulated soap. Not just a new improvement of an old soap. Why, even the suds are different.
How's that?
Well, because Does makes more suds, even in the hardest water, than any of the 4 other leading granulated laundry soaps. And Does gives you suds that build up faster and last longer. So, just look for that big red and white box today, and next wash day, let Does do everything. And now, the Goldbergs. Molly's beginning to feel like a general who ordered her troops into battle, and then found that the struggle is taking place in another way entirely. Having freed Margaret Way of her burden of bitterness, Molly finds that Edward Way is not at all prepared to take his former wife back, and most important, unwilling to take a beginning from his old past. Way still wants to marry Oriane. And right now, Oriane's listening to a tirade from Dr. Cater. Off in another room, Chris's voice keeps rising and falling while Molly looks at the dishes in her sink.
Oh, I told you I have enough on my mind. Not please. Rosalie? You're back again.
I forgot something.
This is the second time you forgot something. Why again? Is that Katie still here? You know this place.
That's in another world. Well, let me tell you.
Wait on the door.
I don't care what you say. Your conscience is too easy. I care doesn't. I don't need any proof. All I have to think of is the way you acted towards me.
Yes,
towards me. If you want an itemized list, I can give it to you. I can start all the way back to the first day I saw you. I assure you that was a calamity, Oriane.
Go back to the door.
Yes, you've been that to everyone for since away. And I don't know how much of the pity you had for him was self-pity for yourself. Yes, the blonde heroine of Glastonbury, yes.
Get what you forgot and go to school. You hear me?
Well, don't stand there like a mute. Say something. I'm talking to you. In fact, this may be the last time I will talk to you.
Give me my dish towel. I want the dishes. Don't wipe the dishes. Get what you forgot and go to school.
But I'm late now, Mama.
Early or late, get what you forgot and go to school.
Hey, it's too late for my first class, Mom.
Oh, don't start with me, please.
It's too late for my first class.
Who let Mr. Way on? He decided he was in love with you because you made it easy for him. You created this whole situation. Pity? Why didn't you have some pity for Mrs. Way, for say, but for me? Why didn't you have some pity for me? Come to think of it, I was the one who needed it most.
Mr. Way will be here any minute, Ma.
Mr. Way, how do you know?
I saw him up the road.
You did?
Mama, darling, if Mrs. Way leaves, then everything will be over. Oriane will marry Mr. Way, and all you're trying to do won't mean a thing.
Oh, yes, I could only hear.
I'm so amazed, Oriane. You know what you should do? You've got to speak to Mrs. Way. You've got to make it perfectly clear, or else all this sacrifice which you're enjoying so much will be wasted.
Oh. Jake?
Yes.
Jack, what are you doing back from the mill?
How is it that you're still here?
Who, Jack? I forgot something, Pa.
You forgot something before also.
All right, Jack.
Rowena Willoughby is standing in the road waiting for you. Get what you forgot and go. What are you doing with a dish towel in your hands? What are you doing home?
Well, I was helping Mama with the dishes, Pa.
I'm here. I'll help her.
Get what you forgot and go, Rosie.
People want to be stupid. They really excel themselves. And you, Oriane...
What's going down?
High in that remarkable art. You acted like a 16-year-old girl who just saw the latest Joan Crawford picture. In all my experience as a doctor, I haven't seen anything as wildly romantic and superbly foolish as your conduct.
Take everything down in shorthand, Molly. Give Rosie the minutes to read when she comes back.
Goodbye, Mama. Goodbye.
Coming?
You're going?
What then? I'm
The
staying?
most trouble in the world, Oriane, doesn't come from the wicked people, but the good-hearted ones like you. You're so generous for one single person's happiness that you're quite willing to wreck the futures of millions of others. I said millions.
Oh.
You're like all sentimentalists. You can cry on the drop of a hat, but you was never thinking of picking up the hat, no?
Molly, please. Whatever you have to do, no matter how much you have to mix the needle, finish this up, please. Let my pressure be hoisted home again, please.
Well, I'm very glad now you didn't accept. And that offer has been permanently withdrawn. Permanent.
Rosie, have enough. Come.
Goodbye, Ma. Goodbye.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes, I do mean it, Oriane. And now I think I've said just about enough. I said every single thing I can think of, and a few more. And I wish I could think of a few more. Yes, and... Well, goodbye, Mrs. Goldberg.
Dr. Cater, why do you make things more difficult for us?
Her? For who?
For Oriane. Please, Dr. Cater, go in and tell her. Tell her that you love her. She still loves you, I know, and you know it too. Go in and tell her before Mr. Ray comes in, and all will be too late. Please, Dr. Cater. Oh, you see that? Mr. Ray?
Mrs. Goldberg, please. Would you please go inside and see if you can comfort Oriane?
What's wrong with Oriane?
You are. Will you go in, Mrs. Goldberg?
Yes.
Excuse me, Art.
Just a moment, Mr. Way.
Excuse me.
Will you, please try to tolerate me for just a few minutes? Then you can do what you feel like. You can even go to the devil for all I care.
I don't need your help, Dr. Cater. There's nothing wrong with me.
Nothing wrong with you? You mean there's nothing right with you? You're a twisted mass of repressions. You're bound and tied so that you can't act decently or honorably or intelligently.
You mean I don't have sense enough to recognize that you've resented me all along because Oriane preferred me?
I'm not talking about Oriane's feelings, but yours.
I don't want to talk about my feelings to you.
No, I don't blame you. You might find out how incredible they are. I suppose, Mr. Way, you're laboring under the delusion that you're in love with Oriane.
And you're laboring under the delusion that she's in love with you.
I know she is. But it's you I want to talk about.
Well, I don't.
Just a minute, Mr. Way. Will you please come back? Thank you very much. It won't take long, you know, to tell you the truth.
I mistrust your version of the truth.
Oh, yes. Yes, you're afraid to hear it. I could have told it to you the first day, but I was being too much the doctor and not enough the man.
Oh. Is this supposed to be man to man in the great tradition?
Yes, if you like. I want to give you a diagnosis of your case. It'll prove conclusively that you're not in love with Oriane. What you're in love with is irresponsibility. You're a coward. You're afraid to face your past.
Can't you write that down and mail it to me, Dr. Cater? It doesn't seem to be important at the moment.
Oh, it will be in a moment. Mr. Way, when you married your former wife, you were a very ambitious man. The world was your oyster, and you were going to swallow it whole. And in the process of gobbling up personal power, you ruined her life. You ruined the love she had for you, and you finally ruined yourself. And ended up in prison with a 3-year sentence. Well, that took the starch out of you. You came out a man who wanted to escape from life. You wanted to live in secret, surrounded by easy things. You wanted a simple thing to hold on to, so you wouldn't have to face this world which had so completely licked you. Then along came Oriane, and you felt that she would be the way out. Oh, just imagine peace and security. security, just a simple love affair. That was an easy thing. And so deep down in your subconscious, you invented the fantasy of this great love for Oriane. You clung to her like a child does to its mother. You invented the love and you invented the security. And now when you have an opportunity to meet reality again, you're trying to turn away. You love escape, not Oriane, and you're sacrificing her to your fear of life. No. That won't make you happy, Mr. Webb. Only facing the problems of life, facing and solving them leads to real peace. You must return to reality, to the world, to life among men. And that, my dear Mr. Way, means with Margaret. It means where you first started and failed. Only this time, you see, you can know what your mistakes have been. And you can walk with honor and courage instead of like the man you were. Well, that's your choice. Take it or leave it.
And for all his anger and for his own personal relation to Oriane, Chris finally spoke with the truth and dignity that's his real character. But how the truth will appear to Mr. Way is quite another matter. But it's the one matter that Way has to face. Say, did you know that at last something's been done to bring dishwashing right up to date? Yep, there's no more need to struggle with those old-fashioned halfway soaps. I mean those mile bar soaps that don't have real speed, or those tough granulated soaps that teach you on safety for your hands. Well, the 1942 answer to such halfway soaps is New Does. You know, this new kind of granulated soap does everything in your wash. And believe me, Does has everything you want for dishes, too. From whirlwind speed to extra gentleness for your hands. Now, just notice how nice and soft and smooth your hands feel after you start doing dishes with Does. Why, Does is far kinder to your hands than any other leading granulated laundry soap. Yet, Does speeds through dishes like a whirlwind. There's no hard scouring, not even for tough grease. Yes, those busy suds will prove there's nothing halfway about New Does. Try it tonight. Does has everything for dishes. And be sure to listen to the next episode of The Goldbergs, written for you by Gertrude Bird. Next time, Way makes his final choice with Oriane, and Molly finds the struggle coming to an end. This is James Fleming wishing you good day for Procter & Gamble, the makers of Does, the new kind of granulated soap for all three kinds of wash.
Ladies and gentlemen, 1 year ago tonight, through the facilities of your local National Broadcasting Company station, we were privileged to enjoy your attention at the premiere broadcast of a new series of authentic documented dramas entitled Dragnet. This evening, on the occasion of our first anniversary as weekly guests in your home, the cast, technicians, and producers of Dragnet wish to state publicly that our indebtedness is enormous. For the degree of success which Dragnet has achieved during the past year, our first and greatest obligation is to you, our weekly listeners, for your support, for your many kind letters of encouragement, criticism, and appraisal. If Dragnet is a proven success, then you have made it so. Behind the scenes, we have many more people to thank. Our engineers, our sound technicians, our cast. To the radio editors and columnists across the nation, also, a sincere thank you for your judgment of our efforts. Additionally, claims on our thanks are held by the Los Angeles Police Department, for the National Broadcasting Company, and the Liggett & Myers Tobacco Company, makers of Fatima cigarettes. To all of these, and to you, our gratitude. Here at the starting point of Dragnet's second year of broadcasting, our wish is twofold. First, that we may enjoy your continued support. Secondly, that we may deserve that support. Thank you. The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to robbery detail. Scores of lone women have been beaten and robbed. The victims have been unable to identify the criminals. Your job, get them.
If you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke extra mild Fatima. Yes, Fatima is the king-size cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild. To give Fatima a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. That's why Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast. Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. Best of all, long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Monday, July 1st. It was mild in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of robbery detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Ed Walker, captain of robbery. My name's Friday. It was 9:27 p.m. when I left the phone booth at the Sunset Drive-In and got to our car. 80K. Anything new? Well, Captain Walker's wife had her baby. Boy, 8 pounds.
Oh, that's swell. She all right?
Yeah, so's the captain.
Look at the uniform on the waitress them.
Yeah, they sure dress them up, don't they?
Good evening.
Hi, Daisy.
Oh, hello. Didn't recognize you. What'll you have? The usual?
No, I think I'll have something else besides a hamburger this time.
Here's the menu. Take your choice.
Oh, thank you. Well, I'm kind of hungry. Maybe I'll take a meal.
42R, 816 West. Fried shrimp's good.
Where's that?
Right there.
Oh, yeah. 95 cents.
What's all this stuff I've been reading in the paper?
What's that?
A couple of guys going around snatching purses and beating up women. The paper says it's happened 7 times in the last 2 weeks.
Roast beef, 90 cents.
Roast beef's good, too. Don't you know who's been doing it?
No, not yet. What do you get with these liver and onions, Dave?
Same as with everything else. Soup, potatoes, and coffee.
85 cents.
Why don't they just take the purse? Why do they have to beat up the women?
We don't know.
Well, there's headlines staring me in the face every time I open a paper. I'm getting afraid to walk home at night.
Do you get coffee and dessert with the Salisbury steak?
Yeah.
65 cents.
72T. Roger on your call. Say, do you guys know what I've been talking about?
Yeah, Daisy, we know.
I'll take the Salisbury steak.
Yeah, so'll I.
Hamburger special, long too.
Well done on mine, please.
Burn. Okay. Be a couple of minutes.
Thanks.
All units in the vicinity of 1016 North McAdams.
That's us. Get it up.
484 PS and slugging, code 3. All units in the vicinity of 1016 North McAdams, 484 PS and slugging, code 3. 61F, take the call. Okay.
I'll let her know we're going.
Okay.
I'll be right there.
No, we're leaving. We'll be back.
Okay.
You know, I've been wondering.
What's that?
Hamburger and Salisbury steak, what's the difference?
Price. To the police officer, the lowest thief and most cowardly is the purse snatcher who preys on women. For more than a month, lone women throughout the western section of the city have been robbed and beaten. The descriptions were confused and varied because the attacks took place at night. 10:06 p.m. We got to the location on North McAdam where the woman was lying on the sidewalk. She'd been badly beaten about the face and neck, and her jaw had been broken. Officers Reed and Shell of Unit 61F were already there.
Any witnesses, officer?
Yeah, this man in the sweater here saw it happen. Says the victim's name's Swanson. This is Mr. Kahn.
How do you do? This is Sergeant Romero. My name's Friday. I wonder if we could talk to you, please.
Yeah, certainly. Do you want to come into the house?
Right over here will be all right.
That officer there says that you saw it happen.
That's right. I was watching television. I heard this scream outside. I looked out and saw these two men beating her up.
Can you describe them?
Well, the light wasn't real good. They're about as tall as you two, but they had slighter builds.
How old were they? Could you see that?
I'd say they were young, maybe 18, 19. I saw them knock her down. It was terrible. They hit her and then they kicked her. They picked up the purse and ran down that way.
And you called the police?
Yes, but not right away. I ran out and saw them get in their car across the street. They drove right past me. Then they turned east there on Romaine.
Can you describe the car for us?
I got the license number for you. The last three numbers were 552.
Just 3 numbers?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Can you describe the car? What kind was it?
Oh, I don't know. It was new. I think it was black. Maybe a sedan.
Well, was it a large car or a small one?
Oh, kind of medium.
Did you notice the back of it?
Yeah, that's where I saw the license plate.
No, I mean, did you notice anything about the car? Maybe a dent on the fender or a sticker on the window?
No, I didn't look at the window.
Did the car have a spotlight or a radio antenna?
Well, I guess I didn't see anything. I was trying to look at the license plates.
Did you notice anything unusual about the car? Any identifying marks at all?
No, I didn't notice.
How about the make of the car? Did you see what kind of one?
No, the last 3 numbers on the license plate were 552.
California license plate?
Yes, it was. Now, that should be enough here. Do you think you'll catch them tonight?
Do you know how many plates end in 552? While Ben called in a general description of the car and the 2 attackers, I talked to the other bystanders. I found out that the victim's name was Mrs. Frida K. Swanson, a widow. She had a room at 1003 North McCadden. None of the neighbors had seen the robbery or the beating take place. 11:28 p.m., Ben and I arrived at Hollywood Receiving Hospital to interview Mrs. Swanson, but she was unable to talk or to identify her attackers. She wrote on a piece of paper that she'd been slugged from behind. She never got a good look at the men. Besides a broken jaw, she was suffering from a fractured wrist, a broken nose, and bruises about the face and body. Tuesday, July 2nd, the getaway car used in the attack on the previous night was found abandoned on Hollywood Boulevard and proved to be a stolen car. License number 6 Young 4552. The victim's empty purse was found inside. Routine investigation developed no leads. We met with Captain Walker. Because the last 4 attacks had taken place within a 6-block radius, we set up a plan of decoys in an attempt to trap the 2 purse snatchers. 4 policewomen from Juvenile Bureau and a special detail from Metropolitan Division were assigned. Tuesday, 4 p.m., a special detail was ordered to the squad room for briefing.
Hello, Joe.
Oh, hiya, Dorothy.
How's your tuxedo? Back in mothballs?
Yeah, how are your feet?
My feet, nothing the matter with them. You're a good dancer.
Yeah, I bet I could use some lessons.
Oh, you don't need lessons, Joe. You need practice.
Okay, let's get started. I don't have to tell you the risks involved in an operation like this. I want all of you to know where everybody will be at any given time. By all of you, I mean the police women and also the men who'll be in the squad cars. If anybody misses anything, stop me. We don't have much of a description of the men we're after. There are 2 of them, both about 18 years old. Usually they wear sneakers, slacks, and sport coats. They've been in different kinds of cars, all of them stolen. We keep each car for a few days and ditch it. Hold on the map, will you, Joe?
Yes, sir.
Now, here's the area here. Residential, 90% of the dwellings have garages, so if a car is parked on the street, it might be unusual. Each of you will be given a list of cars stolen in the last 48 hours, still outstanding. I want you to check all parked cars against the hot sheet. First, hold up your purses, please. Young lady, that purse is too small, I'm afraid. Let's make it look worthwhile.
Yes, sir.
All right. Of course, you won't be carrying your guns in your purse. You wear a shoulder holster. Before you leave, Sergeant Friday will pass out some marked bills I want you to carry. Okay, now, policewoman Short. You'll board a westbound streetcar at Western and Santa Monica Boulevard at 9:03 p.m. Don't worry about these schedules. The streetcar will be there. You get off at Las Palmas at 9:13. Walk south to Willoughby. Turn east on Willoughby to Hudson, and north 1 block to Romaine. You go west on Romaine to Cahuenga, and then retrace your steps to the starting point, and you're through. Got it?
Yes.
You'll be covered by Unit 81K.
Captain.
Yep.
How fast or slow should we walk?
Well, I'd say a pretty good pace. No woman likes to be alone on the streets at night, so it'd be natural.
Yes, sir.
Policewoman Ball.
Yes, sir.
You'll board an eastbound bus at La Brea and Melrose at 9:35 p.m. You get off at Wilcox and Melrose at 9:45. Walk north on Wilcox to Waring, Turn west on Waring for 2 blocks, then north on Cherokee. You follow Cherokee for 2 blocks, turn east on Romaine. Follow Romaine to Cole, and turn north on Cole. When you get to Santa Monica Boulevard, retrace your steps to your starting point. You'll be covered by Unit 87K.
Will the cars be cruising or will they be parked?
Both. Friday and Romero will be cruising all the time. I'll get to the others when I finish with these instructions. Of course, if you see any police car, give no recognition.
Yes, sir. Captain,
Yeah?
you said the 2 suspects wear sneakers.
That's right.
It's going to be pretty hard to hear them come up behind you.
I'd say so.
Did any of the victims hear them?
If they had, they wouldn't be victims.
9 p.m. The decoy plan went into effect. We waited. Tuesday night passed. Nothing happened. Wednesday night, nothing. Thursday, July 4th, the decoy plan was enlarged to include a larger area, but everything was quiet. Friday, July 5th. Captain Walker decided that the new plan, covering an area from La Brea to Vine Street and from Sunset to Beverly, would be kept in operation. 10:45 p.m. Ben and I cruised the exposed area.
We've been thinking about moving to a new place.
Yeah?
Only trouble is we don't know what's going to happen.
You mean if rent control goes off?
Yeah. We don't know if rents will go up or down.
You've got a lease, haven't you?
Unit 71
That's
Mars,
next month.
Regan in Mariposa, 507 party.
We don't know what to do. We even tossed a coin to decide.
Well, that's about as good a way as any.
Coin came up tails 4 times in a row.
Yeah?
Wife changed her mind on each toss. No decision.
Roger, 71R.
That a policewoman down there?
Yeah, Nancy Short. You got her out there?
South on Hudson, east on Melrose, then up Wilcox to Sunset.
All units, Willoughby and Hudson, 484BS and slugging, code 3.
That's us. Let's roll on it.
83F, Willoughby and Hudson, 484BS and slugging, code 3.
We drove to Willoughby and Hudson, just south of the corner, and saw a woman sitting on the grass with a few people around. She was a young woman, about 25. Her clothes had been torn, and there was a red welt on her right cheekbone. She was trying to get to her feet as we came up.
There'll be an ambulance here in a few minutes, miss. Can you tell us how it happened?
My cheek's swelling.
Did you see who attacked
Yes, I did. I can tell you about them. Look, here, I ripped off one of their pockets. These cards fell out.
Driver's license. George Landon.
Here's the piece of cloth I tore off his pocket.
I'll take that, Ben. Thank you. Do you want to stay with her? See if I can get a make on this license.
Okay. Would you give me your name, please?
Barbara Curtis. I live over on Hudson.
80K to Control 1. 80K to Control 1.
Go ahead, Eddie K.
Check suspect for making warrants. George Landon, male, white, age 18, 5 feet 9 inches, 155 pounds, blue eyes, black hair. Address, 2722 and a half, Arthur Avenue, KMA 367.
Roger, 80K.
Robbed by a couple of young women.
Did you see the car?
Yes, I saw it. White sidewall tires. It was a club coupe. I tried to see the license plate. I couldn't make it out.
What color was the car?
I don't know. Dark green, I think. I'm so mad I could boil.
Can you describe the man?
Well, you got the driver's license. It's all there.
Well, that's just for one of them, miss. You said there were 2 men.
I don't know. I grabbed one of their coats and the other one hit me. The thing I'm so mad about is I tried to scream and nothing had come out.
I understand.
Hi. Unit 63F, we got the call.
That's fine. This is the victim, Miss Curtis. If you'll handle the report and see that she gets home, we got a lead to check out here.
Okay.
Thank you.
Control 1 to 80K.
What's your call back, Joe?
We better get it. Come on.
Right with you.
80K to Control 1. Go ahead.
80K. Suspect has misdemeanor and felony record. 1 arrest, suspicion of robbery, and 1 arrest, GTA. No wants at this time. Most recent address on suspect, 2722 and 1/2 Arthur Avenue.
Roger.
Been in trouble before. Felony and misdemeanor.
Yeah.
And the address matches.
Maybe this cloth does.
Listening to Dragnet, the case history of a police investigation presented in the public interest by Fatima Cigarettes.
If you smoke a long cigarette, it will be in your interest to listen to a typical case history of a Fatima smoker.
It's the case of beautiful aviatrix Bab Beckwith, one of the few women who holds a commercial instructor's rating for single-engine land and sea aircraft. This is her actual signed statement.
I've been smoking long cigarettes for quite some time. Recently, a friend told me about a really mild king-size cigarette, Fatima. I'm very glad I tried them. Fatimas are a lot milder than any of the others I've smoked and have a much better flavor. I agree. It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
And so do more and more smokers every day. Actual figures show extra mild Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast.
So enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself.
The king-size cigarette, which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos, superbly blended to make it extra mild.
You will prefer Fatima's much different, much better flavor.
You will agree.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
The best of all long cigarettes.
Friday, 11 p.m. Ben and I drove to 2722 and a half Arthur Avenue. It was a small house at the rear of a lot on the east end of town. Alongside the front house, there was a narrow passageway leading to the house in the back with a small lawn between the two. There was no alley, and anybody leaving from the front or back door had to go through the narrow passage. As we approached the house, a light was on in the front room, and through the window we could see a middle-aged woman reading a magazine. We rang the bell.
Yes?
Police officers. Does George Landon live here?
Why, yes, he does. I'm his aunt, Miss Landon. What do you want?
Can we come in?
Why, yes.
Thank you.
Won't you sit down?
Thank you, ma'am.
Is George Landon at home now?
No, he isn't, but I think he'll be home soon. He never stays out late. He isn't in any trouble, is he?
Do you know where he is?
With his friends, I suppose. He's a popular boy. He really should be home soon.
Where's he been, Miss Landon?
I don't know. He goes out at night, you know, with his friends.
Who are they?
Well, I really don't know. You see, it's difficult to keep track of a young boy.
Mm-hmm.
He's a big boy, and he's full of vitality. He has to find things to do.
Yes, ma'am.
He lives here with me. I'm his aunt. I'm not married, so I take care of him. His parents died when he was a baby.
I see. Does George work, or does he go to school?
Oh, he's finished school. You aren't here about that automobile that was stolen a year ago, are you?
No, ma'am.
Oh, he had some trouble then, but I'm sure he didn't do it. Since then, he's been very good. He hasn't missed a day's work, and he goes to church with me any time I ask him.
Where does he spend his evenings, do you know?
Well, I told you, with his friends. A young man has to use up his energy. I don't try to hold him too tightly. Good boy like him.
Can we look at his room?
Oh, yes. It's right here.
All right.
I'll show you how neat he keeps it. Oh, there. Isn't that nice?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm not trying to defend him. I'm only telling you about him. He keeps this room cleaned up himself. He smokes a little, but I've never smelled a drop of liquor on his breath. He's a very good boy.
Yes, ma'am.
He even reads a lot. You can see his books over here.
Yes, ma'am.
You mind if we look around a little?
No, that's all right. Should be home soon. He's probably at a movie. Do you want to wait for him?
No, that won't be necessary.
He's always home by midnight. I'll tell him you were here. Oh, that must be George now. George!
Yeah?
These men would like to talk to you. They're police officers.
All right, take it easy, young fellow.
Oh, let go. Hold him. Turn him around.
Yep.
Stand still, young fellow. No, it's no good.
What do you guys think you're doing? I didn't do anything. I was just out for a ride.
This your nephew?
Yes.
Coat's torn, Joe. Pocket ripped off.
Is this your driver's license here, George?
Yeah. I lost it.
When?
Last week.
It was found tonight.
So what?
How'd you tear your coat?
Getting out of the car the other night.
Here's a piece of cloth. The girl who was attacked tonight gave it to us. It matches the tear there in your coat.
What have you done, George?
Tell her.
I didn't want to do it.
I didn't want to do it any time. He talked me into it.
Who talked you into
He
it?
made me do it. He's got a gun, and he stole the cars. He made all the plans.
Who made all the plans?
Tommy. Oh, we never did anything except hang out at the drugstore until that time a year ago.
What's his last name?
He said that it'd always be held against me, and I better go along with him.
Tommy who?
Decker.
Was he with you tonight?
Yeah, he's the one that hit her when she grabbed hold of me. He's the one that always hit him. I never wanted him to do it.
Mm-hmm. Where's the stuff you took out of that purse?
Well, Tommy's going to hide it.
Where?
Back of where he works.
Where's that?
Oh, garage someplace. I don't know where. He just started working there.
Where does he live?
Place on West 6th. I never been there.
What does this Decker look like?
Well, he's the same age I am, but about an inch taller and must be 15 pounds heavier. He's got dark hair.
How's he dressed?
Just like me. Sneakers and brown slacks and a tan sport coat.
Better call the office, Ben. Yeah. Can I use your telephone, ma'am?
Oh, it's in the hall behind the door.
Thank you. You said Decker's got a gun?
Yeah.
Officer, will you tell me the truth?
I'll try, ma'am.
Are George and this Tommy Decker the two men the papers have been writing about?
I'm afraid so.
The ones who've been robbing the women?
Yes, ma'am.
And beating them up?
Yeah.
I didn't mean it. I didn't know what I was doing.
I raised you, George. I didn't either.
11:42 p.m. We checked into the office with the 18-year-old suspect, George Landon. While Ben and the police stenographer took down the statement, I went down to R&I and pulled a package on the other suspect, Thomas Decker. His mama sheet showed a petition had been filed on 459 PC and 488 PC. They also showed 3 different recent addresses for Decker. One on West 6th Street, one on South Mariposa, and a third on North Catalina. 2 units were dispatched to the first 2 addresses. Ben and I went to the address on North Catalina, a rooming house. We learned from Decker's landlady that he was working as an apprentice mechanic on the swing shift at a large garage on South Flower Street. 12:51 a.m., Ben and I arrived at the garage.
I beg your pardon.
Yeah?
Police officer. Does Thomas Decker work here?
Yeah, he works here. Hey, Decker! Hey, Decker! Yeah? I'm the guy here to see you. There he is back there.
Thank you.
What do you want?
You Thomas Decker? Yeah? Police officers would like to talk to you.
Watch it, Joe. Come on. Hey, he's going in the locker room. All right. It's locked. Come on, hit it. Yeah. Don't go. Hey, you. You over there. Any other way out of this locker room?
Yeah, down the hall in the annex.
Come on, Ben.
All right.
Here we are. Watch it. Came from behind that car. Back by the door.
All right, cover me.
All right, Ben, give it back to him.
Don't shoot, Doug. I give up.
Throw your gun out. Throw it out.
Here it is. Don't shoot.
All right, now come on out. Hands behind your head.
I'll get the gun. All right, you turn around.
Lousy. Watch it, Joe. Watch it. Hey, he's getting away. Head him off downstairs. No. There he goes. Head him up. Let it go. Let me go. All right. All right, get the cuffs on him, Ben.
Yeah, you Yeah. 18 years old. What's it prove?
I don't know. Sometimes you kind of wonder if it's true.
What's that?
There's no such thing as a bad boy.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
On November 1st, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 82, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
It's amazing how many long cigarette smokers are changing to extra mild Fatima. Here is the actual report.
From coast to coast, extra mild Fatima has more than doubled its smokers.
Yes, more and more smokers every day are discovering that Fatima is the king-size cigarette that is extra mild.
Extra mild because it contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild, to give it a much different, much better flavor and aroma.
Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. best of all long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Thomas Decker and George Landon were tried and convicted on 5 counts of grand theft person, 5 counts of grand theft auto, and 5 counts of assault with intent to do great bodily harm. They were sentenced to the state penitentiary for a term as prescribed by law and are now serving their sentence.
Ladies and gentlemen, Chief of Police W.A. Wharton speaking from his office in City Hall, Los Angeles, California.
As Chief of Police of the City of Los Angeles, I wish to extend my heartiest congratulations to the program Dragnet on the occasion of its first anniversary. The overwhelming success of this program, as indicated by the hundreds of commendatory letters, telegrams, and personal comments, I feel has been due to the splendid job of portraying police officers and their work. The American public, by its enthusiastic acceptance of Dragnet, has indicated a desire for factual police programs. The Los Angeles Police Department is proud to contribute to the constructive entertainment of both adults and children through this medium. May I extend my best wishes to the National Broadcasting Company, the sponsor, the actors, the writer, and the producer of Dragnet. And I trust there will be many more years of continued success for this program.
You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.A. Wharton, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Next, a great new show, Sarah's Private Caper, on NBC.
My name's Jeff Regan. I get 10 a day in expenses from a detective bureau run by a guy named Lyon, Anthony J. Lyon. I'm the Lion's Eye.
With Jack Webb as Jeff Regan, Investigator, stand by for hard-boiled action and mystery and thrilling adventure in tonight's story of the Diamond Quartet.
Well, this is the way it started. Melody called about 6 o'clock that night. She gave me the name of a restaurant out on the strip and said that Lyon was waiting for me. I drove out there and found him squatting at one of the corner tables. He had a big white napkin tucked under all of his chins, and he was working on a plate of crab louis and a bottle of beer. A tall peroxide blonde in slacks and dark glasses was sitting across from him, watching him eat. And a couple of bald-headed waiters were just sort of standing around looking at the ceiling.
Well, Regan, I see you got my message. You're right on time. Sit down. I want you to meet Miss, what did you say your name was, young lady?
Madge will do. Just plain Madge, fatso.
Regan, this is Madge.
I hate gumshoes. They all stink.
Okay, where'd you find her?
Madge? Madge works for Mr. Daly, Mr. Pete Daly. He's a new client of ours. Isn't that right, Madge?
All gumshoes are nosy. That's why I don't like them.
Madge is going to drive you out to Mr. Daly's residence, Regan.
Who's Daly?
Very nice chap. I spoke with him on the phone.
What's the job?
Well, It's a rather delicate matter, and I think Mr. Daly himself can explain it better than I.
Come on, all this gassing ain't getting us nowhere. The boss is waiting. Gumshoes talk too much.
Yes, Regan, yes. I told Mr. Daly you'd be there by 7 o'clock. You just run along with Madge here and see what it's all about.
Let's drift.
Nice to have met you, Madge.
Ah, dry up, fatso.
Good. Call me, Regan. Call me if you're running into any trouble.
Just plain Madge, who was carrying a .25 automatic in her purse. When we got into a Cadillac, we went out the pass, turned off a hill, and back of Burbank. Daly's residence was at the end of a private road, a nice old Southern-style place with 2 or 3 private patrolmen guarding the entrance. They all needed shades. They kind of nodded when we got out of the car and went up to the front door. Naturally, there was a peep shutter there. It was real Southern.
Yeah?
It's me, Felix. This is the private keeper the boss wants to see.
Okay, miss.
Come on this way.
Who is it?
Madge, I got your peeper. Inside. Here he is, Pete. Flat feet and all. His name's Regan.
Okay, Madge, that's all. Beat it. Sit down, Regan, sit down. Don't mind Madge. She's kind of antisocial.
Nice place you got. How's the gross?
Yeah, I do all right. 2 crap tables, 2 faro games, a little roulette in the living room, but I have to be careful.
I noticed that driving up.
There's lots of money thrown around here every night. Somebody might get some ideas. You know how it is.
What about the law?
Law? No trouble with them. I just don't let them know I'm in operation.
Mm-hmm.
In my business, I haven't much use for private detectives. I don't generally like them.
Neither does Madge.
But I happen to need one right now. I want you to do a little job for me.
You seem to have plenty of help around here. Wasn't that Felix Frazier at the door there? Last time I saw him, he was shadowing a banker up in Sacramento.
Yes, that was Felix, all right, but it's a little different. Yeah. Never seen this before? No? Well, it's a little bit of necklace called the Diamond Quartet. It's worth quite a chunk of cash. These 4 diamonds are good stuff.
So?
Dame named Annabella Callender left it here a week ago. She was in kind of deep at the roulette table and was wearing this. She left it for security.
How much did she lose?
About 5 G's, I guess. Kind of screwy little dame. She's a widow with a lot of money and a boyfriend named Teddy Silco. He paints or something. They come here.
And she loses steady.
Every time. Well, she sent me a check today for the full amount of what she lost.
Yeah?
And I want you to take this thing back to her tonight.
That it?
That's it. I got my dough. She gets a little diamond necklace back. Just business.
Well, it sounds simple.
It's simple. You're a licensed investigator, bonded, insured. Don't want any fuss about this. You just take it back. Very simple.
Okay. Now, you told me how simple it all is. Suppose you give me the hook. Did her check bounce?
You want a drink? There wasn't any check.
I thought it'd be something like that.
Yeah. She called me a couple hours ago, said if I didn't have this thing back by tonight, she'd call a load of cops and come out and get it.
Not such a dumb dame at that.
As you're telling me. If she comes here with cops, I'm closed for the season, and this dump cost me a pile of dough. Felix was running the roulette table that night. I didn't know he'd taken this as security until we counted up. I should have pushed his mush in or something. Letting a dame like that make a setup.
Maybe you'll do better next time.
Ain't gonna be no next time, Regan. Here's her address. Here's the ice. Just take it to her, and I'll chalk it up to experience.
You better get yourself a new boy at that table.
Yes, you're telling me. You're telling me.
Well, I took a taxi over to the restaurant in Hollywood, picked up my Buick, and drove to an apartment house near Pico and Beverly Drive. A couple of men in a little gray coupe were sitting in front of the building smoking cigarettes and pulling on their hat brims. I figured Daly was making sure I got the right address. Upstairs on the 5th floor, I leaned into the buzzer and waited to see what Mrs. Annabella Callender looked like.
Oh, Teddy, I thought you'd never get here. The performance begins at 8:15, and you know the traffic. Oh, you aren't there.
You Annabella Callender?
Well, of course. Who are you?
My name's Regan.
Oh, Miss Regan. Well, I'm only waiting for Ted to get here so we can make first curtain of the Biltmore. We're seeing Carousel, and we're going to be late if he doesn't get here. You can understand that.
Yeah, it figures.
And I'm all ready, and he hasn't shown up. Well, good night.
Yeah. Her white ermine cape and the black strapless thing needed a touch. But she had it.
That necklace I had in my pocket, or a very good copy, was hanging around her neck, and it looked like 4 Klieg lights at a Hollywood premiere.
Hey, lay off. You bust the door, lay off. What's the idea? You want to bust down the door? You drunk or something?
I've been pounding on this door for 5 minutes.
Well, that's too bad. Can't you read the signs? This building's closed. The scram, drift, push off, blow.
You got a jeweler in this building named Tartaglia?
Yeah, we got a jeweler named Tartaglia. Only don't want to see nobody because it's 9 o'clock at night. The joint's closed and he ain't here.
All right, slow down. He lives someplace, don't he?
Sure. There's a lot of houses that way. Why don't you try knocking on doors?
There wasn't any residence listed in the phone book. I thought maybe if I came down here to his office, you could tell me where I might see him.
I ain't going to tell you nothing.
Look, I'm a private investigator. I got to see him tonight.
Oh, how's little old expense account, Pilgrim?
It'll do.
Let me see, pal. The name's Freddie Leach. Your boy's a fat old pile of blubber with a lot of talk in this note. White Hotel, 208, 3 blocks straight ahead.
Thanks, Freddie.
Anytime, pal. Brother Sawbuck, I'll tell you where his girlfriend lives.
Well, come in, Mr. Regan. Come in. You find me a bit indisposed at this hour. I was preparing to retire, but you said it was a matter of jewelry. Therefore, Bert Tartaglia is at your service. Now then, sir, what is so urgent?
I came to see you about a diamond necklace. I found your name stamped on the inside.
House of Tartaglia, most respected name in diamonds as in all the lapidary arts. Most respected. I'm the last of 4 sons. All... But continue, Mr. Regan.
Take a look at this.
And how do you come into possession of the Diamond Quartet, sir?
A man named Daly, who runs a gambling club, hired me to take it back to a lady named Callender.
Gambling house? And how did Mr. Daly acquire it?
She lost it at the roulette table. She left it so she could raise the cash.
Deplorable conduct on her part. Annabella Callender, a very indiscreet young lady, to be sure. Lovely body, propelled by a ridiculous mind.
I tried to take it back to her tonight.
It's beautiful, isn't it, Mr. Regan? Beautiful.
I want to know if it's real or not.
Real? Of course it's real.
You sure?
Mr. Regan, do you doubt my ability as a gemologist? Once in a lifetime, sir, only once in a lifetime does an artisan have the opportunity to create the perfect necklace.
How much will it pull?
Priceless in the amount of work. Roughly $65,000. See, here, under the light. See how carefully each stone is mounted. Without reservation, I pronounce the Diamond Quartet an incomparable masterpiece.
Well, I saw one just like it tonight.
Huh? I didn't quite follow you, sir. No one could create another Diamond Quartet except Bert Tartaglia.
Well, and somebody made up a pretty good imitation.
The finest workman at best would create only a crude resemblance. This kind of work demands an artist, Mr. Regan, an artist.
But it could get by.
Oh, to the unpracticed eye, yes. To the layman, perhaps, yes.
Mm-hmm. That's all I wanted to know.
Later Nanquas herba, eh?
What was that?
Latin. A snake in the grass, eh?
Maybe.
Your expression tells me you are concerned for the safety of this piece. I have a safe here in my room if you care.
No, it'll be all right.
Well, then, you leave satisfied, I trust.
Yeah, thanks.
Think nothing of it, Mr. Regan. Think nothing of it. Just remember the House of Tartaglia when you want fine jewels. Good evening, sir.
In the lobby, I got 2 3-cent stamps from the clerk. He watched me put the Diamond Quartet in an envelope, address it to myself, and mail it right there. He blinked a couple of times, but I didn't tell him about my 2 pals parked across the street in the little gray coupe. They were sitting there, still sucking on cigarettes and pulling on their hat brims. When I walked outside, they got out of the coupe, came over to where I was lighting a cigarette. The tall one tapped me on the shoulder.
Here's the paper, Georgie. Want to ask him for a match? Georgie's nearsighted.
That's too bad.
That's him, Danny. Got a match, Peeper? Georgie asks if you got a match, Peeper. He's a dummy, Georgie. Don't talk. Got a match, Peeper? What I tell you, he's a dummy. You don't look like no dummy. Why, he's a dummy, all right, ain't you, Peeper? See, he's a dummy, Georgie. I told him about you being nearsighted, and he said it was too bad. Didn't you, Peeper? He still don't talk. Go on, Peeper. Tell Georgie how sorry you are about him being nearsighted. I told you he was I told you he was a dummy, Georgie.
All private eyes like you.
Georgie asked you a question. He wants to know if all private eyes is like you.
Danny boy says you're a dummy. You're a dummy?
Georgie asked you another question. He wants to know if you're a dummy. See, no answer.
I don't like dummies.
We asked 3 questions already, and he ain't said nothing. That makes him a dummy.
Maybe we find something if we went through the dummy's pockets.
Yeah, even a dummy's got pockets. Ain't that right, dummy? Hold it, Georgie.
Hey, move just like a dummy.
What do you want?
Hey, talk.
Yeah. Make him talk again, Georgie. Oh. Make him talk bigger, Georgie. Oh. Talks real nice, but he don't say much. Maybe he's tough, Georgie.
He might think he's tough. But then again... You see? Yeah, it's a tough.
Now it's my turn.
Hey. You don't talk no more, Danny.
This peeper ain't no pretty picture, Georgie. Why you want to hold him up?
You are listening to the story of the Diamond Quartet. Tonight's adventure with Jeff Regan, Investigator. 29,000 nurses are needed now to join the new Army Nurse Corps Officers Reserve. For the first time in history, qualified nurses are given the opportunity of receiving a commission in the regular Army Reserve. These nurses will remain on inactive status, ready to serve their country in the event of an emergency. 4,000 of them, if they wish, may choose active duty. Inactive reserve status will not interfere with the nurse's civilian life, but the educational opportunities offered her by the Army Medical Department will be of a great advantage to her in her work. So don't wait. If you're a registered graduate nurse between the ages of 21 and 45, drop a card now for complete information to the Adjutant General, Washington, D.C. And now, back to the story of the Diamond Quartet and Jeff Regan, Investigator.
Regan, can you hear me, Regan? Nurse, are you sure he's coming too?
He had quite a beating, Mr. Lyon, but he's coming around.
Regan, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Regan, can you hear me?
I think he's with us now.
It's me, Regan. What happened to you? Why didn't you call? Regan, do you understand me?
What's this?
That's your head, and it isn't very pretty, let me tell you that.
I'll be at my desk, Mr. Lyon.
All right. Come on, give it to me. What happened? An hour ago, the receiving hospital telephones me that they picked you up in some gutter. I come down to see what's what, and you lay there and ask me, what's this?
Well, it's a wrong job. Another punk client.
As long as they've got the dough, we love them all. Who are you fighting with?
A couple of boys named Danny and Georgie.
A couple of boys named Danny and Georgie. Well, would you mind telling me just where you've been while you should have been doing what you were hired to do?
I was out with Danny and Georgie.
Sure. You were out with Danny and Georgie. But what did you do before that? And what did you do with the necklace? That Diamond Quartet or whatever it is.
I mailed it.
You mailed it? You were hired to deliver that thing personally, and you mail it.
Where's my clothes?
Regan, I'll never understand you. I'll never understand you or the way you do things. I send you out on a simple little job. All you have to do is take a necklace back, and what do? You wind up bleeding all over the city street. Here's your pants.
What time you got?
3 o'clock in the morning. It's always 3 o'clock in the morning when somebody telephones me that you're in trouble somewhere.
Well, why don't you go home and go back to bed?
I haven't been to bed. I haven't had one wink of sleep tonight. You know why? Because on top of all my other troubles, some dame who sounds like she has a suit full of hooch has been calling my place every half hour asking for you. My place.
Why didn't you tell her to call my place?
I did tell her to call your place. I told her a couple of 100 times to call your place. Then I told her to shut up.
Coat.
Here. You look terrible.
She give you a name?
Annabella something or other. I don't know. What I want to know is... Hey, where are you going? Who's going to pay this hospital bill? Where are you going?
Well, the cab driver circled twice before he picked me up, but he got me out to her place in 20 minutes. When I got upstairs, her door was halfway open, and the light from the hallway kind of seeped in. She was sitting in a big chair right by the door. I don't know why, but she was holding the phone on her lap, just sitting there, looking at nothing.
Oh, Mr. Regan. It's you. You came back.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to need this.
Oh. Well then, Mr. Regan. Well then. I suppose you've met some people tonight who know a great deal about me.
Some? A gambler? A jeweler?
And of course they told you how I carry on with money and all that. Everyone seems to know that.
Yeah, Daly told me.
Do you know about Charles? Charles and I had so many things together, and it was so much fun being alive with him. You like to have fun, Mr. Regan? I do think he enjoyed being alive with me. I mean, I cried when Charles was killed. I really did. I cried. I didn't know what to do. I cried.
How long ago was that?
Oh, Charles was killed 3 years ago. But now I have Teddy. He's really a dear. You should meet him. We should all have a drink together or something. Teddy's a fine artist. Very fine artist. I think you'll be very prominent someday. I do. I really do think Teddy will be very prominent someday. Of course, it wouldn't make any difference now. Did they tell you that did they tell you? It's funny. I can't seem to get my tongue adjusted to my mouth. Did that ever happen to you, Mr. Regan?
Sometimes.
Teddy asked me to marry him tonight.
He did?
Yes, I've been very lonely since Charles died. And it isn't my money that Teddy's interested in, I'm certain. Teddy has some money of his own, although many people don't know it. What is money, Mr. Regan? What would you say, money? Oh, yes, I go again to that business about my tongue. You think I should see a correctionist?
Why did you call me tonight?
You're the only detective I know. And I really don't know you. It's just that Mr. Daly said you were a detective.
Why did you want to see me?
I really can't understand money. I know it must sound strange to you, but some people live for it, and some people die for it, and some people...
What's wrong? What is it? Come on.
Oh, they do look so funny. So very funny. I've seen them count money. Oh, so much money. And I really believe that's all they live for. They handle it and caress it now.
Come on, tell me what's wrong. What is it? What is it? She was pointing to a black spot across the room. I found the light switch and turned it on. Oh, yeah. They looked funny, all right. It was Daly and his dumb roulette table man, Felix. And both of them were as dead as you can get.
Darling. I've been waiting up all night. I knew you'd telephone and say you'd marry me.
Yeah. Your name's Silko?
Oh, yes, I was expecting...
My name's Regan. I'm a private investigator. I'm calling from her apartment.
Annabella's?
Now, listen. There's been a couple of murders here.
What?
She's had quite a jolt. She's going to need you and all the help she can get. I called homicide, and, well, it might be kind of rough for her.
I'll bring a doctor.
And a lawyer.
I've got a good one. I'll be there in 10 minutes. Thank you.
Well, he showed up about the same time Wendetti and the homicide boys got there. By that time, she couldn't even talk, and they had to put her to sleep. I told Wendetti what I knew about it, and he said we'd get it straightened around as soon as she had something to say. It was about 8 o'clock in the morning when I got home. I didn't expect my boy to show up so soon. He was already there.
Regan. I've been expecting you. Come in, sir. Come in. I've been amusing myself with your chessboard. So we meet again. Sit down, sit down. You've had rather a hectic night, I'll wager.
Your boys were pretty rough.
Georgie and Danny. Two men of another world, Regan, not our world. Allow me to apologize for their actions. And so unnecessary, too. I underestimated you, Regan. Such an ingenious method of protecting the Diamond Quartet. Why, sir, by the simple expedient of placing a 3-cent stamp on an envelope and mailing it to you yourself, you were hired as guardians the entire United States Postal Service, not to mention the Army, Navy, and Marine Corps.
You want one of these?
No, thank you, Regan. Much too early in the day. But go ahead. You give me cause to admire you again, sir. I am one of those faint-hearted persons who cannot abide liquor until 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
All right. What happens now?
By gad, I admire your directness, Mr. Regan. When I met you last night, I promised myself you'd give me trouble, and you have.
Who's in on it?
Such directness. In answer, sir, that is a matter to be explained.
Double cross.
If you can bear my vanity, I have invented a new word. Triple cross. It does have a ring to it, doesn't it?
Sounds familiar.
My gad, sir, I like you.
Daly in on this?
Daly? No, of course not. A mere instigator. But when Madge explained to me that he was returning the Diamond Quartet, I first conceived the plan.
Just plain Madge.
She and her friends have been very valuable to me.
They knocked off Daly and Felix and planted them in the girl's apartment.
Right. With 2 cadavers in her living room, Mrs. Callender was very unlikely to discuss missing jewelry with the police.
Then it was a phony she was wearing, and she didn't even know it, huh?
And it caused all of this. If you had merely returned it, it would have been simple to remove it from her. But then...
And you just sit here and wait for the mail.
We wait for the mail, Mr. Regan.
What about your playmates?
You do act your role, don't you? And I like you for it, Mr. Regan. I wish you and I could have worked out something together. An unbeatable team. In answer, sir, I'm afraid I shall be sought for murder. The 2 this night.
Danny and Georgie?
And, Madge. Does that name bother you as much as it bothers me? Give me a woman with a name like Celeste, or Josephine, or Roxanne. Those, sir, are proper names for the creatures. But Madge...
Where are the police going to find all these bodies?
In my hotel room, which I departed hastily.
I know a man down at Central Homicide named Wendetti.
Do you?
Mm-hmm. He's the best cop I've ever seen. You'll never get away with it.
Allow me to correct you, sir. I don't intend to get away with it. Observe me well. You see before you a man advanced in years, attached to a destitute and bankrupt jewelry firm, with nothing more to look forward to than a grim few years, and finally the end. Now an opportunity to live like a king, and by God, sir, I've taken it.
They'll pick you up before you can pack a bag.
I'll risk that. I shall turn the Diamond Quartet into cash, and with a well-laden purse, I shall be satisfied to elude the police over half the world. Oh, yes, they'll get me. In 2 years, 3 years, perhaps. By that time, I shall have spent the money. And what more could a man ask than a perfect fulfillment of all his wishes? Huh? I ask you, sir, as one gentleman to another, what more could a man ask? You have company, and I have a gun. Answer it. Tell him to go away. I'll be right beside you. All right. Open it.
One side, Shamus. I got a gun.
Madge.
Thought I'd find you here, brother boy. Getting you such a good job on me.
Caution, my dear. I have a gun, too.
I didn't last long enough to let you have it. Get out of my way, people. Oh.
Mr. Regan, sir. I believe I've been shot. I'll need it. Assistant. I can't seem to hold my feet, sir. Can't seem to hold my feet. The mortal is nil nisi bonum, Mr. Regan. Or, if your second year Latin escapes you, speak well of the dead. It was an awkward plan at best.
was a lousy idea. Well, there wasn't anybody left for Wendetti to arrest, so we sat around and looked at each other. Wendetti agreed that Madge double-crossed Daly. Tartaglia double-crossed Madge and her boys. Yeah, triple-cross. Well, the Lion had something on his mind. He wanted to know, was I satisfied with what I got out of this case? I didn't answer him. I need the job.
The Army Nurse Corps Reserve still has commissions available. If you are a graduate registered nurse between the ages of 21 and 45, you may be eligible for a commission in the Army Nurse Corps section of the Regular Officers Reserve. Graduate work is provided at the Army's most modern teaching center, and the nurses obtain educational experiences that benefit them in both civilian and military nursing. If you believe you qualify for a commission in the Army Nurse Corps Reserve, apply to the Adjutant General, Washington, D.C. Jack Webb is featured as Jeff Regan, with Wilms Herbert as Anthony J. Lyon. The role of Bert Tartaglia was played by Barry Kruger. Lorene Tuttle was Annabella Callender. It's CBS same time next week for trouble, suspense, and thrilling adventure with Jeff Regan, Investigator. Written by E. Jack Newman, produced by Gordon T. Hughes, directed tonight by Cliff Howell. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
To hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to homicide detail. The owner of a fur store has been shot and killed. Your only lead, a missing fur coat. The killer is at large. Your job, get him.
If you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke extra mild Fatima. Yes, Fatima is the king-size cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild. To give Fatima a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. That's why Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast. Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. Best of all, long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Saturday, November 23rd. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of homicide detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Blaine Steed, captain of homicide. My name's Friday. It was 6:35 p.m. when we got to the corner of Western and Lexington. The Western Fur Shop.
Hi, Brown.
Hi. What happened, Frank?
The owner's been shot. His name's Albert Carver.
Yeah?
Who is that? Mrs. Carver. Haven't been able to get anything out of her.
Where's the body?
In the back. Munkers is back there.
Did you call the lab?
Yeah. Jones on his way. Photographer and fingerprint men with him.
All right, let's take a look.
Nothing seems to be messed up.
Back room is.
It was a small shop. A couple of fur coats on dummies on one side of the store, and on the other, a tall glass case holding about 15 more. Mrs. Kreiber sat on a straight-back chair staring at the floor. We went through the curtains into the back room of the store. Sprawled out on the floor at the far end of the room was the body of a man. He had a fur coat gripped in one hand. Sergeant Moncrief from Hollywood Division was standing by.
What do you figure, Monk? Looks like a couple of hours.
Did you call the coroner?
Yeah.
How long you been here, Monk?
Just a couple of minutes.
You think Miss Kreiber moved anything here?
I don't think so. She was sitting in that chair when we got here. I don't think she's moved except to call in.
Did she put in the call?
Yeah. Empty shells here on the floor.
Oh, you got a pencil?
Yeah.
Yeah, 32.
Yeah. You think robbery?
I don't know. Let's talk to the wife.
Wait a minute. Bottle here.
Yeah, Sierra Valley Wine Company. World's finest muscatel.
27 cents a pint.
Nobody touched this, did they?
No, well, I've been here. No.
Okay, let's get out front.
Anything in the customer files running?
Not so far. You tried to talk to Miss Kreiber again?
No, pretty bad.
Let's give it a try. Miss Kreiber? I'm Sergeant Friday. This is Sergeant Romero. We'd like to talk to you if we could. We know how you must feel, but there are a few questions that we have to ask you. Did you telephone the police?
We have to know how it happened, Miss Kreiber.
Miss Kreiber? Can you tell us what happened?
Who is it? What do you want?
We're police officers.
Oh, Albert. Albert's dead. Albert! Albert! Someone call the police?
Miss Kreiber, we are the police.
My husband's been murdered. He's dead.
We better leave her.
Friday. Here's something I found in the customer file.
Miss Terry Shepard, 10113 Normandy, apartment 3. What about it?
She took a coat out that was in storage. Took it out today.
Well, we'll check her out when we're finished here. Thanks.
Looks like the only hot receipt in the file.
Hi, Lee.
Joe, then?
In the back room.
What is it?
Killing. Moncrief will show you.
Okay. Let's look.
Think we ought to try the wife again?
We can try. Miss Kreiber, can we do anything for you?
Oh, I'm a little better. I'll try to tell you what I can.
All right. When did you get here?
It must have been about 6 o'clock, a few minutes after. I came to take him home.
Any customers around?
No, the store was empty. I stood here for a few minutes waiting, and then I went in the back and...
Yes, is the front door open?
No. Yes. The front door?
Yes, ma'am, the front.
Yes, open.
Did you telephone the police?
I think I did.
Did you come here to pick him up?
No. No, usually he drives home himself. I came down on the streetcar to ride home with him.
What kind of a car do you have?
An Oldsmobile. 1939 or 40, I guess it is.
Where does he usually park?
In the rear of the store. This little place back there.
I'll take a look.
All right. Where is your home?
3412 Northwestern. I thought there was something wrong when I got a telegram from him. He said not to come down tonight. He said he'd be home late.
What time was that?
At 4 o'clock. Oh, I'm all mixed up. I haven't told it to you as I remember it. First I telephoned here to the shop.
That was this afternoon?
Yes, 3:30. I'm sure of that because I made some other calls. I spoke to Albert. He didn't say he was going to be late. Then at 4 o'clock, I received the telegram.
Do you have that with you?
Yes, it's in my purse somewhere. Somewhere. Oh, here it is.
All right. Thank you. Note comes down. I won't be home until late after see a customer, Albert. Can I keep this? We'll return it to you.
Yes.
What'd you do after you got this wire, Miss Kreiber?
Well, nothing. I thought it was strange, but I didn't think too much about it. Then I started wondering why he didn't say anything over the telephone about being late. So, I came down here on the streetcar.
Did you phone the store just before you left your house?
Yes, but there was no answer.
Parking lot's empty.
Better get out an APB on the car, huh?
Miss Kreiber, you said your car was a 1939 or 40 Oldsmobile, didn't you?
1940. I remember now.
What model is that?
It was sedan, light blue.
Do you remember the license number?
Well, I have it on this chain with the extra keys. Here it is, on this little tag. The veterans make these.
Thank you.
Joe, can I see him, ma'am?
Sure. Excuse me, Miss Kramer.
Do you want me to wait? I'd like to go home.
We'd like you to wait for a little while, yes. Do you have any relatives living here?
A niece and a nephew in Beverly Hills. Jerome Reed. They live on Cannon Drive.
All right, we'll call them for you.
Thank you.
Lee, is this phone out here all right to handle?
Yeah, it's been dusted.
Okay.
Joe, you coming in?
Yeah, right away.
It's pretty clear, easy to trace.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say he was standing over here by the curtains when he was shot. That's where the stains begin.
Mm-hmm.
And he must have stumbled along this glass case. You can see the smears here in the glass where he tried to grab hold of something.
Yeah.
And I guess he caught hold of that fur coat and pulled it down with him.
Mm-hmm.
And he stumbled and bumped up against this coat rack, fell through that and up against the safe.
How many times was he hit?
6 empty casings on the floor. Looks like 4 through-and-through wounds.
32, huh?
That's right. The wife know if anything's missing?
Yeah, she's in pretty bad shape.
It looks to me like somebody took his wristwatch and a ring from his left hand. If he had a billfold, that's gone. No coat. All the trouser pockets are turned inside out.
And what about that wine bottle?
It's smeared. Can't lift a thing.
Okay, thanks. Ben?
I'm still on the phone.
Okay.
No. License 15, Boston. 6707. No, 707. Yeah. Driver might be on. Hang on a minute, Wallace. What? Now, give that DMV, will you? Save another call.
Miss Kreiber, did your husband have a wallet?
Yes, brown alligator.
Did he keep his identification in it?
Yes.
Did he carry much cash?
No, just a few dollars. He was always afraid of holdups.
Thank you. You want to give that to him, Ben?
Yeah, okay. Hey, Wallace, suspect might have a brown alligator wallet with identification cards of Albert Kreiber. Yeah, that's C-R-I-B, Boston, B, Boston, ER. 3412 Northwestern Avenue. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Yeah, bye.
Joe? Might be something here.
Yeah, Monk?
Invoice from the Far North Fur Company. 3 mink coats delivered here today. I looked all around. I only found 2, 1 missing.
Did you find a sales slip for the other one?
No.
Miss Kreiber, would you come over here, please?
Yes.
Where are they, Monk?
Over here.
All right. Over this way. Well, these are mink coats here, aren't they?
Yes. It's wild mink. Albert told me he ordered them.
Yes, ma'am. We found the invoice.
He ordered 3. There are only 2 here.
Do you know anything about any of his customers?
No, I don't. I never met any of them. Oh, I remember now. Just the night before last, he called someone from home. Told her he'd have some minks in today and she could come in and look them over.
Do you know who that was?
I didn't hear any name.
Miss Kreiber, do you have any idea who might have wanted to shoot your husband?
No, none at all. He was friendly with everyone. Everybody liked Albert. He didn't run around. He was either working or at home.
Did he drink?
Not at all.
No, I mean beer, a little wine, maybe?
No, he never touched anything.
All right, thank you. Brennan, will you see that Miss Kreiber gets to her nephews?
Right away.
Thank you. Might as well go, Ben.
Yeah.
We can talk to some of the neighbors.
6 shots fired. Wonder why nobody heard him.
Pretty heavy traffic outside, huh?
Somebody wanted a mink coat pretty bad. A coat like that costs quite a bit, doesn't it?
This one's going to come a little high, yeah. 7:05 p.m. Most of the stores along the street were closed, but a small shoe repair shop across the street was open, so we went over there. On the window was one word, Pete's, and a picture of a shoe. Sitting in the window was a small, dark man wearing a leather apron. He was working on a pair of shoes.
Hello.
We're police officers.
I see you drive up across the street.
Are you Pete?
Sure. What happens to Mr. Kreiber? He's robbed?
No, he was killed.
No. Shot? I do not hear anything.
Have you been sitting in your window all afternoon?
Oh, most all the time. You see, I have machinery here. I advertise that way. People watch me.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember seeing anybody going into Mr. Kreiber's this afternoon?
This afternoon, the 4 men. 2, 3 long black cars.
Uh-huh.
Anybody else?
Some.
Were they women?
Officer, they are all women.
I see. Did any of them walk out with a new fur coat?
Hold up. I do not see all of them, I guess, but I see 2.
Can you describe them?
One, beautiful young girl, tall, red hair. She walked out with a big package.
What time was that?
3, 4 o'clock. The second woman is about the same time. Funny thing. I do not see the bottle, but Benny from liquor store on corner tell me the second one, the blonde. She buys bottled wine.
Did he tell you what kind?
No. Reason I remember, I laugh when he tell me. I go over to Benny's for a can of beer. He tells me she buys cheap wine, walks out of Kreiber's with new fur coat. Me, I spend $5 for good wine, and my wife has no fur coat.
How old was this blonde? How was she dressed?
She's maybe 25. Young, not too young, but young. She has on slacks, gray.
Mm-hmm. What kind of a fur coat was she wearing when she came out?
Mink. Look from here like mink.
I see. Did you notice where she went?
The blonde, the gray slacks, mink coat. Yes, it turned the corner onto Lexington and she went up the street.
Did you see Mr. Kreiber's car drive away?
No, he parked in back. I don't see him come in. I don't see him come out.
All right. Thanks a lot, Pete.
Mm-hmm. Officer, that blonde, something wrong there.
How do you mean?
Well, she has got fur coat, but she drinks wrong wine. I don't understand.
Why do you say that?
$5,000 coat, 27-cent wine.
7:45 p.m. Ben and I questioned Benny Davis at the Safety Liquor Store. He remembered the blonde and said she bought a bottle of Sierra Valley Muscatel from him between 2:30 and 3 o'clock that afternoon. He'd never seen her before. We contacted communications and gave a description of the blonde to supplement the All Points Bulletin. Then we started checking Western Union offices to find out where Mrs. Kreiber's telegram had been sent from. We finally traced it to the office at Normandy and Hollywood Boulevard. The operator who sent the telegram to Mrs. Kreiber also remembered receiving the call. She told us that the person who phoned in the message was a woman. The time, 3:22 p.m. We asked her to put a tracer on it and told her we'd check back. 8:24 p.m. Ben and I went to 10113 Normandy to talk to Miss Terry Shepard, whose name had appeared in the customer files at the fur store. The receipt showed she'd taken a coat out of storage that afternoon.
This is something like the place the wife and I used to live in.
Yeah?
Same people must have built it. Apartment 3. Miss Terry Shepard.
All right, come in. The door's open. Find yourself a seat, Fred. I'll be with you in a minute.
Police officers, Miss Shepard.
Oh? What's wrong?
We'd like to talk to you.
What about?
Wonder if you could come out here, please.
Well, I just got out of the shower. You'll have to wait a minute.
Yeah? Yeah, this place has got the same floor plan as mine.
Kind of small, isn't it?
Not too bad. Wonder what rent she pays.
You don't mind if I wait a tubing, do you? My hair's wet.
It's all right. We're sorry to bother you.
What can I do for you?
You got a fur coat, Miss Shepard.
Yeah, sure.
I wonder if we could see it, please.
Sure, but I don't think it'll trouble you. It's only muskrat. I bought it in Pittsburgh.
Where is it, in the closet?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's down the hallway, first door on the right.
I think I know where it is.
What's this all about, Lieutenant?
What time were you at the Western Fur Shop today?
Oh, I'd say 3 o'clock. Why?
What'd you do while you were down there?
I got my coat out of hock. I had it there during the warm weather. Paid the man, signed something, and he put the coat in a box, and I took it.
Mm-hmm. Do you know Mr. Kreiber down there, the man that owns the store?
You got me. The man was about 50. His hair was a little gray. I hardly even looked at him.
This is the only fur coat, Joe.
Could have passed for mink when I first bought it. It's pretty sad now, isn't it?
Not mink. I'll give that closet a last check.
All right.
What happened? Did somebody steal a coat?
Was anybody else in the store while you were there?
Yeah. Yeah, there was another girl there.
What was she doing?
Nothing, just sitting.
Do you remember how she was dressed?
She was wearing a gray suit, slacks, blonde. Her face wasn't much, but she had a neat little figure.
Do you remember anything else about her?
Well, I didn't pay that much attention.
Anything else in there, Ben?
Not a thing, Joe.
Maybe I'd better take this towel off my head. It doesn't look so hot when it's wet, but it's natural. It's natural red.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you might be able to tell us?
I think that's about all. I gave the man my claim check and the money. And he got the coat and put it in a box and gave me a receipt.
Mm-hmm. Nothing else?
No. No, when I got the receipt, I saw the blonde walk over and pick up the telephone. I was just leaving then.
Did you hear any of the conversation?
She asked for Western Union.
You are listening to Dragnet, the case history of a police investigation presented in the public interest by Fatima Cigarettes.
If you smoke a long cigarette, it will be in your interest to listen to a typical case history of a Fatima smoker.
It's the case of Edith Gwynn, well-known Los Angeles columnist. This is her actual signed statement.
It's my job to keep up with what's going on around town. And here's one thing I've noticed lately. More and more people smoking Fatima. You certainly can tell why once you smoke them. I found them milder than any other king-size cigarette, and that's important to me. Yes, I agree. It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
And so do more and more smokers every day. Actual figures show extra mild Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast.
So enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself.
The king-size cigarette, which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos, superbly blended to make it extra mild.
You will prefer Fatima's much different, much better flavor.
You will agree.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
The best of all long cigarettes.
Sunday, November 24th, 9 a.m. Ben and I contacted the owners of all the shops in the vicinity, but none of them saw or heard anything at the time of the shooting. Officers Brennan and Moncrief interviewed all the regular customers of Albert Kreiber's fur shop. Only 3 had been in the store on Saturday, but none of them had noticed anything wrong. 11:35 a.m. We spoke to Mrs. Kreiber again, but she could add nothing to her story. Her niece and nephew had been to a football game at the Coliseum in the afternoon and knew nothing had happened until they were telephoned by Officer Brennan. 2:55 p.m. We spoke to all the tenants of the apartment house at 5513 Lexington, which is in the rear of the fur shop. None of them had been home, but the owner told us that he had some men working on the roof of the apartment house at the time of the murder. Through the owner of the Durable Roof Company, we traced the 2 men who had been working on the roof, and they told us that about 4 o'clock they had seen a blonde dressed in gray slacks enter the parking space in the rear of Kreiber's fur store. They whistled at her, but she paid no attention to them. She got into an Oldsmobile and drove east on Lexington. 7 p.m. We checked in at the office and got word that Albert Kreiber's car had been located in a parking lot at Vermont and 8th. We drove down to the location and talked to the parking lot attendant.
Well, the car must have come in sometime last night. It probably came in the back way because I don't remember it coming in, and it doesn't have our lot tag on it. Did you work all last night? No, I finished at midnight and started at 10 this morning. I kept waiting for somebody to claim this thing, and after supper, I figured it might be stolen, so I phoned the police. It's been sitting here all that time.
Are there any keys in it?
No, sir. There weren't last night either.
Have you ever seen this particular car before?
No, sir. Have you ever seen a blonde woman about 25 wearing gray slacks? You mean hanging around here?
Yeah, or in the neighborhood.
Yeah, but not today or yesterday. Do you remember one? Well, yes, sir. Does she drink a lot?
Maybe.
Well, there's one that hangs out in these bars around here. Once in a while, she comes in the lot, but not lately.
When did you see her last?
Oh, a couple of weeks ago.
Was she with anyone?
Yeah, but I don't remember him. I've seen her with a lot of different guys.
Does she hang around with anybody in particular?
Yeah, her husband.
Before leaving the parking lot, we pulled the rotor out of the distributor so that nobody could drive the car away. 8:12 p.m. We called homicide and asked for more men to canvass the bars in the neighborhood. Ben and I staked out on the car. We sat in our car across the street from the parking lot until midnight. Nobody showed up to claim the car. The streets were almost empty. Our only chance was that the blonde lived in the neighborhood or was in a bar and would sooner or later try to claim the car. 1:53 a.m.
What rent do you suppose that Shepherd girl pays?
You got me.
75?
I don't know.
I bet I pay more than she does.
Is that Moncrief's?
Yeah.
Hi, Monk.
Hi. Let's take a look up the street. See that couple?
Where?
Coming this way. Blonde, gray slacks, fur coat. She's pretty drunk.
Where'd you spot her?
Turned the corner from Olympic. They've been looking in parking lots.
Monk, there's a rear entrance to this lot off the alley. Do you want to cover that?
Yeah.
Thank you. You see him all right?
That's it. When they walk under that light. Yeah. Pretty drunk.
Looks like the same kind of coat, isn't it?
Yeah.
Stopping.
Looking for another parking lot, I guess. Sierra Valley Wine. World's finest muscatel.
And going into the parking lot.
She's not carrying a purse.
Those coats don't have pockets big enough for a .32 automatic.
That stuff sure gets people.
All right, let's go. We're getting in Kreiber's car.
Look, you can't even find the door. She's helping us.
You take the other side of the car, will you?
Yeah.
Stop pushing me.
Who are you?
Police officers. Can I see your driver's license, please?
I got a driver's license.
What's going on?
What's your name?
Betty Moore. What's it to you?
The registration slip on the steering column says Albert Kreiber.
What's the matter with this car, anyway?
Who's Albert Kreiber?
Oh, I know who he is.
This guy here.
Who is this man?
Huh? What do you say?
He's a friend. That satisfy you?
Friend.
What's the matter with this thing?
Take a look in the glove compartment, Ben.
Okay.
Come on, honey. Let's get going, huh?
Yeah. It's locked.
What do you want him there for?
Let me have those keys.
Hey,
Here you are, Ben.
How about going home?
there's nothing in there.
Let's go.
Here's a purse.
Give me that.
You keep your hands on the wheel.
Some gun, 32.
It's his. It's empty anyway.
What do they want?
Nothing wrong in that.
Do you have a permit to carry it?
Yeah, I got a permit.
Can I see it?
I lost it. Give me those
You
keys.
keep your hands on that wheel.
Here's a wallet, identification cards, Albert Kreiber.
Where'd you get these?
I don't know.
The man's watch, Albert Kreiber engraved on the back.
Who's Albert
I
Kreiber?
don't know, I told you.
All right, let's get out of the car.
Hey, let's push it.
Why didn't that car start?
All right, come on. Stand up. You get over there.
Where'd you get the fur coat?
I bought it.
Where?
I don't know.
Joe, look at her slacks.
Wine stains. I spilled wine on them.
What kind of wine?
Muscatel.
Muscatel isn't a red wine, it's a white wine.
Who's Albert Kreiber?
I don't know.
This is his wallet. This is his car. Where'd you get him?
I don't know. I don't know.
This the gun you shot him with? This the gun you shot him with?
I was going out with him. He said he'd give me a fur coat. He promised me a watch, and he never gave me one. And then we sent a telegram to his wife and everything. He gave me a fur coat and take me out. He backed out of me.
So you shot him?
Sure I did. He promised me the coat. He said I could have any coat in the shop. He promised me.
What are you crying for? You got the coat.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On February 27th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 86, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
It's amazing how many long cigarette smokers are changing to extra mild Fatima. Here is the actual report.
From coast to coast, extra mild Fatima has more than doubled its smokers.
Yes, more and more smokers every day are discovering that Fatima is the king-size cigarette that is extra mild.
Extra mild because it contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild, to give it a much different, much better flavor and aroma.
Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. Best of all long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Betty Moore was tried and convicted of second-degree murder and received sentence as prescribed by law. She is now serving her term in the state penitentiary at Tehachapi. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.A. Wharton, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Next, here's Sarah Berner in Sarah's Private Caper on NBC.
Ladies and gentlemen, the American Broadcasting Company brings to its entire network one of radio's most unusual programs. Pat Novak For Hire.
Sure. I'm Pat Novak. For hire. That's what the sign out in front of my shop says. Pat Novak for hire. Down here on the San Francisco waterfront, it's got to be that way. You got to rob a few graves if you want cigarette money. You need lots of work and roomy sleeves if you're going to play a pat hand. Sometimes, in a good week, you can duck trouble 3 or 4 days in a row. And then it creeps up on you like an old charge account. Well, I should have known that when I went to the bank. I was up to my knees in mud and didn't even know it was rainy season. It was Tuesday. I went by the bank to drop $100. It was about time, because they were beginning to play handball with my checks. Must have been about 11 o'clock when I got to the window.
Hello, Mr. Novak. Isn't it a grand morning?
If it's your choice, stay with it.
Ah, yes.
Deposit $100.
Yes. Let me get your card. It's right here, I think. Yes. Here we are.
All right. $100. Give me a duplicate, will you?
Certainly. My, this isn't as big as the last deposit.
Look, Bloomer girl, just mark the slip, huh?
Oh. I'm sorry, Mr. Novak. I guess I'm not used to $1,000 deposits.
Mm. What $1,000?
Your Friday deposit.
I wasn't in here Friday.
Oh, you must have been. The card says you put in $1,000 on Friday.
Give me that card. What did Santa look like?
What?
Who put the dough in? What did the guy look like?
Oh. Didn't you?
No. Look, we'll double back and try to hang on this time, will you? I wasn't in here Friday. I don't know anything about an extra grand. Now, what did the guy look like?
I wasn't on duty Friday.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure about the fellow today.
What fellow?
There was a man in here to ask about the account.
Did this good fairy have a name?
No, just credentials. He was from the FBI.
I see.
Is there Anything wrong, Mr. Novak?
No, don't mind that complexion. I forgot my foundation cream. Oh, I should have known right then. A mysterious grand tossed into the till. I didn't wake up to trouble. But I'm a smart boy who'd be the village idiot in a town the size of New York. Well, I left the bank and went up to my apartment. That $1,000 was already drawing interest. When I came in, she was sitting on the couch drinking my whiskey. She could have all she wanted. A 1949 Panther model. Just the right amount of size 12 in a dress that looked like a well-tailored fig leaf. When she was through looking you over, you felt like the Sunday supplement.
Hello, Mr. Novak. I like your apartment.
That's good.
The view is wonderful.
So's yours. What's on your mind?
How about a drink?
All right. I'll pour, you talk.
My name is Connie Riley. Make me one, too?
Sure. As you were saying?
My name is Connie Riley.
Yeah, well, I've memorized that much. Go on. Oh, here's your drink.
Thanks. Now sit down.
All right.
Over next to me. I won't bite.
That's too bad. Go on.
Well, here's to your new bank account, Patsy.
Look, sis, if you're here just for the field trials, all right, but if you got a bill of goods, trot it out.
I will. I want that card, too, Patsy. I want it ahead of Chris.
I'll catch up with another drink. In the meantime, you fill in and help me, will you?
Stop sitting on your hands, Angel. You didn't get that $1,000 for the sweat of your brow.
No, not yet.
Somebody padded your account so you'd be a nice boy. I want you to be a nice boy for me.
At the same rates?
The Monterey Rose docks today. A passenger named Kirk Toomey is carrying a jack of clubs, and it means a lot to me.
Well, it doesn't mean a thing to me, except the FBI is on my tail.
Mr. Novak, you're turning a momentary advantage into a crowbar.
You take your deal to some other broker.
You're in business whether you like it or not, Patsy. You're going to stub your toe either way, only... To me, it'll be more fun.
How about the FBI?
You're being frightened by a group of bureaucrats.
Yeah, that's what Trotsky thought.
How much, Patsy?
Hmm?
How much for that card when you get it?
The price is $1,000.
You're an amusing guy, Patsy.
Yeah, $1,000 I can afford to be.
You don't even know what the Jack of Clubs is all about. You never heard of Kirk Toomey till 5 minutes ago, but you take things in stride as if the whole world belonged to you.
Yeah?
You're like Adam when he first spotted the Garden of Eden.
All right, little Eve, it's $1,000. Remember, you're sitting on my doorstep. Now either go on home or come in the house.
Good. I'll take the card. That's your price. Now I can relax.
I bet you can.
Pour me another drink, Patsy?
Yeah, sure, in a minute.
What comes next? Can I get 3 guesses?
If you got time to take them.
I won't need them all.
Well, it's up to you. Come here, Angel. You ever hear of the early bird?
Yeah. Do I make a nice worm?
You wriggle like one.
Aren't you raising the price a little, Mr. Novak?
Straight 18%, darling.
That's too bad. I wasn't even going to scream.
The next place I live is going to be a cave. Just a minute, will you?
Hello, Novak.
Oh, Hellman.
Well. Am I interrupting anything?
No, we were just going over an old seed catalog. Miss Riley, this is Inspector Hellman, San Francisco Police.
Good morning, Inspector. Don't bother to arrest me now. I'm just leaving.
So soon?
My sentiments exactly, Inspector. Bye-bye, Patsy. You can get me at the Concord on Push Street. See you around, Patsy.
Sure.
Well, you're slipping, Novak. No rain check.
All right, funny man. What's your problem?
You ever see this guy before?
Let me see. He's an awful-looking thug.
Yeah.
Who is he, your father?
A guy by the name of Max Coleman. The FBI trailed him to your bank Friday. They think he gave you $1,000.
Yeah.
Where'd you get the $1,000, Novak?
What do you care, Hellman? Maybe a relative, maybe a maiden aunt.
Nobody's related to you, Novak. You're an a jam lover, and I'm here to put your father in.
Max Coleman buys his groceries with foreign dough.
Well, what are you weeping about? Arrest the guy if you don't like him.
There's government microfilm coming in on the Monterey Rose. That $1,000 makes you a contact man for Coleman.
Send the FBI over then. Where do you fit in? Waiting for somebody to drop some loose change?
You were my project, Novak. When they asked us for help, I stuffed the ballot box to get you.
Yeah.
So relax. I'm going to spend the rest of the day here. You're not going to leave the living room.
If I got to spend the day with you, I'll take knockout drops.
Suit yourself. What's this stuff?
That's good scotch. You wouldn't know.
Oh.
The cheap liquor's out in the kitchen closet. That's for you.
All right. Over by the stove here?
That's right.
What do you keep in here, Novak?
Mops and brooms.
Where'd you buy this one?
What are you talking about?
Where'd you buy this one, smart man?
Hellman was right. I could tell right away it wasn't a mop. When Hellman pushed him out, he rolled out onto the linoleum. A dapper little guy, except for a piece of cord around his throat, tied in a funny knot. It was deader than a broken drum. Somebody pulled too hard on that piece of cord. The veins were standing out in his forehead, and his face looked like a road map lying there on the floor. He wasn't pretty. Hellman thought so, too.
Who is he, Novak? Your father?
I've never seen him in my closet before.
Who is he, Novak?
I don't know, Hellman. Finders keepers. You roll him.
Give me a hand. There's nothing there. Where's his wallet?
You'll get there by instinct.
Yeah, here it is. His name is Kirk Toomey.
Well, that helps.
Who is he?
The guy on the Monterey Rose?
The one with the microfilm?
I guess so.
I thought you didn't know anything about it. How'd you know he came from the Monterey Rose?
My dream book, Hellman. What happens now?
Nothing. Except I'm on the case now, and you got trouble in a major key.
You don't think I killed this guy?
I don't know, did you?
You better hop out and tail that girl. She was making herself at home when I got here.
Yeah? How do I know you're not in it together?
You don't cuff her. Maybe she's Loeb and I'm Leopold. When you're through with her, you might hit the Monterey and start looking for a jack of clubs.
Some more dream book, Novak?
Everybody's looking for a jack of clubs, Hellman. It must be the end of the rainbow. That's where you're going to find that microfilm.
In the meantime, you stay handy, Novak. I want to split you with the FBI.
You don't think I'm going to take the rap for Junior here, do you?
It says that in my book. Just relax until I'm ready to pick you up. I only have to find a couple of things.
Well, that'll be a long time, Hellman. You can't find your hip pocket with radar.
Yeah. I'll be around soon, Novak. Don't bother to pack your bags. You'll be traveling light.
Well, when Hellman left, I knew I was a second division club. That phony plan in the bank, the tie-up with Max Coleman, and that stiff in the kitchen made me look real bad. I had to do something in a hurry because the way things stood, I had about as much chance as a lawn party in a monsoon. There were a lot of bases to tag, so I looked up Jocko Madigan, an ex-doctor who invented the hangover, but a good guy. I finally found him over in North Beach at a little joint called Lupo's. He was eating pizza with one hand and strangling a bottle of wine with the other.
Hello, Patsy. Oh, Frank. A bottle of wine for Mr. Novak.
No, I'm short on time, Jocko.
That's where you're wrong, Patsy. People always say it, but it's a lie.
Will you calm down a minute?
You say you're short on time, but you have all the time there is. It's the one thing that keeps you from being a beggar.
Yeah.
There are only 24 hours in a day, and that gives you as much time as Napoleon or Alexander had.
Would you shut up a minute and put on that wine?
I'm celebrating, Patsy. I'm celebrating Mission Day.
Mission Day's over.
I'm a native son. We celebrate longer.
Now, look, I'm behind the 8 ball again.
Isn't it getting kind of crowded back there? What's the matter?
Somebody strangled the guy and put him in my broom closet.
When did you find him?
I didn't. Hellman did. There's a girl named Connie Riley. Looks good for the job.
Why doesn't Hellman book her then?
He's still picking up the pieces. The dead guy is Kirk Toomey. He was set to smuggle in some microfilm. It says here I'm contact. You gotta help me, Jocko.
You've got me confused with the travel agency.
I want you to hop down to headquarters. Get all the dope you can on this guy Toomey. I'm going to look up Connie Riley.
How did she get in the picture?
What difference does it make? She's a wrestler I met this morning. Now, get on to headquarters, will you?
That's why I like you, Patsy. You're like a piece of blank verse. A bad piece of blank verse.
All right, Jocko. I'm going to make like a strip of bacon if I don't get going. Now, stay close to headquarters. If anything looks good, contact me at Connie Riley's here at this address.
All right. How many times shall I knock, lover?
I left Jocko and dropped by the apartment. I was smart and full of courage, like a field mouse at bay. The police had already been there. There was fingerprint powder all over, and the 2 bottles of whiskey were gone. They'd moved Laughing Boy out of the kitchen, so I sat down trying to add things up. I had a short list of friends to see. Connie, Max Coleman, and whoever this guy Chris was. I had to show up with one of them or prove that Kurt Toomey hung himself in my closet. I was getting ready to borrow a piece of cord myself when the phone rang. Yeah.
Hello, Novak. This is Hellman.
I'm thrilled. What's on your mind?
I just called on your girlfriend.
What'd she say?
Nothing. She wasn't there. Hasn't been there since 10 o'clock this morning.
That's funny.
Yeah? You know where she is?
How would I know?
I just thought she might be in your closet. I picked up Toomey stuff on the Monterey Road.
Yeah, what'd you find?
Well, the usual stuff. A few clothes, some shaving equipment, razor blades, toothpaste, and a pack of playing cards.
Pack of cards. Well, you know where to go from there, Hellman.
I thought I did.
Grab that jack of clubs.
Will a 10 of hearts do?
Huh?
That's right, Novak. A nice fat deck. Where the jack of clubs is missing.
Oh, you're always too little, too late, Hellman.
I just thought I'd let you know, friend, in case you start a bridge game with 53 cards in the deck. Good night.
Losing money fast, like a street carnival in Death Valley. Well, one of 2 things happened. Somebody got on that boat and took the jack of clubs while Toomey was at my apartment. Or maybe he brought it with him. If he brought it with him, Connie was a possibility. Or somebody that got there ahead of Connie. Well, anyway, I had to work fast now because whoever had that card wasn't going to put it on a Market Street float. About 10 minutes later, I cut across Union Square and up Bush Street. When I got to Connie's apartment, it was about 10 o'clock. I got in the back door and started through. She wasn't there, so I went to work looking for that jack of clubs. It was real easy. I tried the desk and then her bureau drawer. You know, that black chiffon's coming back in style because that's where I found the card. It looked nice nestling there. I put it in my pocket, and that's as far as I got.
You run the lingerie counter here, Novak?
You sound like a guy named Chris.
If it makes you feel better.
Should we put on the light?
No. Let's don't put on the light. This gun might upset you.
The police are looking for you, Chris. You need more than the dark.
I understand they're looking for you, Novak. That Riley girl kind of put you on the spot. Tell you what I'll do, though.
Yeah, you'll give me $1,000 for the jack of clubs.
I started to say 500.
Around here, there's a whisper. And even grand, mister.
You're trying to collect too many places. Want the 500?
No, I don't.
All right. But I think you're a bum businessman.
Jocko found me catnapping on Connie's bare rug. Must have been right after the sapping. When I woke up, Jocko was thumbing my head like a housewife with a bowl of margarine. I felt around and waited for him to put the floor in again. I reached in my pocket. The jack of clubs was gone. Then I started to talk. Jocko.
Did you expect someone better?
Help me up, will you?
I've helped you get up so much I feel like one of the Wright brothers.
I just lost round 3.
Yeah, I saw him getting into the car.
Did you get a number?
Like Hellman's got yours. Here it is.
Let me see. Anything break down at homicide?
They got all the dope on Toomey. They had to piece it together. He had no fingerprint record, and they finally confirmed things with a set of false teeth.
What does it prove?
Nothing much, except you probably killed him. He was a foreign agent who picked up microfilm at Shanghai. Your girlfriend is pretty.
Did they find her?
Yeah.
Dead?
No, Patsy, you've got to stop thinking of people as being dead all the time. It's demoralizing.
What'd she say?
She denied knowing anything about Toomey.
Jocko, I'm sure she killed that guy up in my apartment. I'd stake my life on it.
Expertly put, Patsy. I think Hellman believes her. After all, she's the only lead.
What about Max Coleman, the guy that rigged my bank account? Are they letting him die on the vine?
I was getting to that. Your friend Max Coleman has disappeared.
I thought he was being tailed.
The kite got away. Here, use my aspirin.
Well, I took a boat out to the Monterey Rose, but that was a waste of time. Hellman had it covered like a tarpaulin. I still had the license number to Chris's car, but that didn't do any good. Even if I found him, all I could do was point my finger. There were still a lot of things that didn't fall into place. One of them was, how come that jack of clubs was so easy to find in Connie's apartment? She hadn't hid it very well. But, after all, maybe that was a habit with her. Things didn't look any better the next morning. I went into a restaurant next to the press club for some breakfast. The Chronicle was lying on the counter. We were in second place because there was a torso murder all over page 1. That second cup of coffee saved me because right after that, I spotted it on one of the back pages, a picture and a small story about some unidentified guy who'd been killed over in Oakland. I couldn't match the picture too well with Hellman's snapshot of Max Coleman, but it looked like my best break so far. I got over to Oakland, and I went straight to the morgue. The guy in the morgue was chatty.
Which fellow you want to see?
The unidentified guy, he must have come in last night.
Sure. Down this way.
Okay.
How do you like our morgue?
One of my favorites.
It's bigger in San Francisco.
Yeah, I figured that.
Sure. Most people don't know that, but it's true. Bigger in San Francisco. Here we are. Right here. Help me slide it out.
Sure.
Roller bearings. Makes it a lot easier.
Yeah.
Here, let me get that sheet.
All right. Well.
Recognize him?
Yeah. What time did he die?
Coroner's report here on the toe tag. About 11 o'clock last night. 2 gunshots. 38 caliber pistol.
That's good.
Don't look good to me. Was he a friend of yours? Relative or something?
Yeah, a relative. He's my maiden aunt. It was Max Coleman, all right, but that was only half the problem. I had some of the answers, but not enough. It's like trying to weave a rug with a spinning wheel and a bucket of sand. Well, anyway, I got to a payphone and I called Jocko. I told him to run down that license number, and I headed back across the bridge. When I found Jocko, he said the car was registered in the name of Christopher Downs, who lived up on Taylor Street. Well, that was enough of a lead, so I telephoned Hellman. It took about a half a minute to draw a map.
Hello? Hellman talking.
This is Novak. You still got Connie Riley down there?
No. I saved matchboxes. Why?
When did she leave?
Last night about 9:30.
Oh, that was smart, Hellman.
Why?
You better put a guard on her front door and get up to 720 Taylor Street, the apartment of Christopher Downs.
Who's he?
A late entry. Now climb out of that coma and get going. I'll meet you up there in 10 minutes.
720 Taylor Street?
Yeah, it's up on the hill.
That's good, Novak. I can roll you all the way down.
When Jocko and I got up to Downs' apartment, there was nobody home. I said a fast prayer for Connie, and I began going through Downs' stuff for a .38 caliber revolver. Jocko was looking, too, over in the liquor cabinet. That's as far as we got.
Scavenger hunt, Mr. Novak?
Hello, Chris. You haven't seen the .38 around?
Just one that's in my pocket.
The same one that killed Max Coleman?
You're going to run out of breath, Novak. Slow down.
I'm in second already, mister. I can't stop.
Then you won't mind a short ride. Out the door and down the back stairs.
Should we bring the lap robe?
There's nothing to worry about. It's a short trip. You won't even have to wire the folks.
We We went down the back way and into the garage next door. We started for a big car in the corner.
All right. Get in. Out the airport road, Joe.
Sure.
Now relax, Novak. From here, you look like a duck in the pond. All right, Joe.
Watch out, Joe. Joe! Watch out, there's another car coming in.
You're right, Chris. It was a short ride.
You all right, Novak?
Stop acting like the mother hen, Hellman. Take this guy's gun.
All right, mister, get out. Who is he?
Christopher Downs. He killed Max Coleman last night.
Does he convince you, mister?
Not entirely.
Well, that 38 will. The Oakland police have 2 slugs that fit that gun. You need more?
No. I'm afraid you've got all the trumps, Novak.
All right, let's go, you.
Let's see you earn it, copper.
Stop him, Novak!
He ain't going far. Well, Hellman, now you can arrest him for jaywalking.
Yeah.
It's too bad. He could have told you a lot about that stuff in my closet. Well, go pick him up, Hellman, and don't forget that jack of clubs in his pocket. Well, it worked out all right. I left Hellman, dropped by headquarters to leave a note, and I went home to my apartment. Connie was there. The whiskey was out again. Oh, she looked real good sitting there in a white crepe dress. It was one of those tight-fitting babies that make a bathing suit look like a toga. I told her all about Chris and Max Coleman, and we forgot about everything but the Olympics. When she put her arms around you, it was a real squeeze. It felt like an old tube of shaving cream. I was pouring a drink when the doorbell rang. Hello, Hellman.
You ready, Novak?
Sure. Well, don't stand there gaping. Arrest her for murder.
Wait a minute. Slow down, Patsy.
Sorry, chum. It's you or me.
Now, be a nice boy.
I am. That's why you go to Hellman.
Come on, lady.
You think of an answer for that guy that you left in my closet?
I didn't leave any guy in your closet.
You'll have to say it louder, baby. They found the store you bought the cord.
That cord came out of your kitchen.
You're a big mouth, Connie.
Yeah. You can put that in boldface. How did you know?
You're the only one that could have taken that jack of clubs here in the apartment. That and one other thing.
Yeah?
That knot in the cord was a funny knot. You got an elastic garter there. It's too big, so you tied a knot in it. The same funny knot that choked Kirk Toomey.
You're a funny guy, Novak.
Yeah?
You're nice. But you're hard to handle. I should have killed you and married you. Ready, Hellman?
Well, that jack of clubs was a phony right from the start. Somebody told Kirk Toomey to deal with me. When he came to my apartment, Connie was waiting. She got jumpy and killed him. I got there too soon, so she had to stall me off. When she got home, she found out that the jack of clubs was a phony. She left it in plain sight, and Chris gobbled up the bait. When he discovered there was no microfilm, he went gunning for Max Coleman. Max was an innocent thief lying low, waiting to buy it from me. So, all 3 of them were after a phony card. I began to suspect it was phony because everybody hung around. If it was the McCoy, Connie would have cleared out. Same for Chris. The microfilm? Well, it was in Hellman's desk, but he didn't know it. Jocko finally tumbled. The report said that Kirk Toomey had false teeth. And when Hellman picked up his stuff on the ship, it was a tube of toothpaste. You don't clean false teeth with toothpaste. Word must have gotten around that the microfilm was inside that jack of clubs, so Kirk crossed them up and put it in the tube of toothpaste. Well, that's all except they canceled my $1,000 deposit. Hellman said it was lucky I noticed her garter. Lucky? Well, she had to straighten her seams, didn't she?
The American Broadcasting Company has just brought you the second of a new series, Pat Novak For Hire, starring Jack Webb. Jocko Madigan is played by Tudor Owen. Inspector Hellman is played by Raymond Burr. Music was composed and conducted by Radio and Television Life Award winner Basil Adlam. In our cast were Betty Lou Gerson, Victor Perrin, Ted DeCorsia, and Herb Butterfield. Today we're happy to welcome a new member of the ABC family, as station KARM in Fresno, California, joins our network. And now this is George Fenneman reminding you to be with us again next week, when over most of these same ABC stations we'll bring you Pat Novak For Hire. This program came to you from Hollywood. This is ABC, the American Broadcasting Company. The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to homicide detail. A woman has disappeared, taken from her home by a man posing as a police officer. Your job, find her.
If you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke extra mild Fatima. Yes, Fatima is the king-size cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild, to give Fatima a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. That's why Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast. Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. Best of all, long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, April 4th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of homicide detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Thad Brown, chief of detectives. My name's Friday. It was 10 minutes past 6 p.m. when I got to the basement of the city hall. Carpool.
Over here, Joe.
Hi. Thad Brown will be down in a minute. Captain will follow us out later.
Okay. No contact yet?
No, I'm still waiting. You take care of the local broadcast?
It's already gone out. They'll put the descriptions on the air every hour. How's it look to you now?
I don't know. Nothing more we can do to, make a contact. Oh, here's Thad Brown now. You want to squeeze over a little?
Oh, yeah, sure. Hi, Chief.
Hi. Let's go.
Might as well take Beverly Boulevard, huh, Ben?
Yeah, it's as fast as any.
You got the address there, Friday?
Yeah, it's 617 Paris Avenue. It's out by Echo Park.
Who's covering the house now?
Ross and Pacelli are staked out in a private garage across the street from the house. Donahoe and Wiseman are on duty inside the Kessel place. You want to smoke?
Thanks.
Light me one, will you, Joe?
Yeah.
But you got the story from the maid at the Kessel's house, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
You check it out?
I'm pretty sure she's telling it straight. If anything's wrong, I don't think she's got a hand in it. Here you are, Ben.
Oh, thanks.
You got the call about 3 this afternoon?
Mm-hmm. A few minutes after, we went right out and talked to the maid.
How'd she tell it?
She said she was fixing dinner about 2 this afternoon when the doorbell rang. She answered it, and a young man in a gray suit asked for Mrs. Kessel by name. He told the maid it was an emergency.
Yeah.
Well, the maid said Mrs. Kessel came to the door, and the man identified himself as a police officer. Told Mrs. Kessel her husband had been hurt in an accident, and she was to come right away.
Man show his identification?
Maid said no. Said Mrs. Kessel just took it for granted he was a cop.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Mrs. Kessel got her coat and left with the man. About an hour later, her husband, Professor Kessel, got home. He wasn't hurt. He hadn't been in an accident. He hadn't seen his wife.
As soon as he heard from the maid what had happened, he got on the phone and called up.
What's the background of the husband, this Professor Kessel?
He's supposed to have quite a name. He's a professor of philosophy out at Simmons College, that small school out near Glendale.
Oh, yeah.
Devout man, president of one of the local synagogues.
Sure about the maid's story, huh?
Sure as we can be. She gave us a good description of the man who picked up Miss Kessel. I got it right here. Yeah. Here.
White male, American, 25 to 30 years old, 6 feet 170 to 80 pounds, gray suit, gray hair, brown shoes. What about the car he used?
Late model Chevrolet, dark blue, white sidewalls. That's all the maid could tell us. She didn't notice the license.
You better cut over on Westlake. That'll take us past the detour, won't it?
Mm-hmm. This Professor Kessel, has he been told what to do?
Yeah, he's been briefed. We've had a couple of men with him since this thing broke. He's taken it pretty hard.
How old a man is he?
Oh, his late 30s, wouldn't you say so, Ben?
Pretty close to 40. Nice fellow, quiet.
2 kids in the family, just about school age, boy and a girl.
This next one ought to be Paris Avenue. Yeah. There's a big gray house down there, Skipper, white trim.
Don't park too close to the house.
I ought to do it right here, don't you think?
Yeah.
What time you got?
It's 6:15. Almost dark.
Where's the garage our men are covering from?
Can you see beyond that light pole there, the white stucco place?
Oh, yeah.
Next one here's a Kessel home.
Doesn't look very rich.
Neither do the Kessels. I don't think they got much money. Hi, Donahoe.
Come in. That the husband? Yeah, I just got a phone call a couple of minutes ago. I listened on the extension.
Who called?
Tried to trace it. The guy wouldn't stay in the line long enough.
What'd you say?
Tell the cops to stay away. Said it twice, tell the cops to stay away.
Yeah?
Said if they don't, I'll kill her.
The Kessel house had already been placed under strict surveillance, and the victim's husband instructed not to contact the abductors without knowledge of the police. To the working detective, there's only one rule to go by when the job of solving an abduction is put in his hands. Find the victim as fast as possible, get the victim to safety, then go after the criminal. It's not an easy job. The responsibility isn't light, and the outcome isn't always successful. If you press too hard, the abductor gets frightened and kills the victim. If you don't press hard enough, the criminal has more time to work for his payoff and then escape. Somewhere between the two was the right answer. We had to find it. 6:30 p.m. Special details of men were ordered out to the bus depots, the railroad terminals, and the airports. Roadblocks were set up at all main arteries leading into and out of the city. Every branch post office in Los Angeles was covered to watch for possible ransom notes addressed to Professor Kessel. 6:40 p.m. We met in the Kessel's living room.
Chief, Wiseman. Professor Kessel will be down in a minute. Says he's sorry to keep you waiting.
You feeling any better?
A little. Phone call about his wife shook him up a bit.
Well, how about those people who came in a few minutes ago? Who are they?
Relatives. Half a dozen of them. They're waiting back in the kitchen.
Well, how'd they know about Mrs. Kessel?
They didn't. They'd been invited to dinner. They didn't know anything was wrong till they got here.
Mm-hmm.
Kessel asked them to stay for the meal. Wants to keep up appearances for the sake of his kids. Doesn't want them to worry about their mother.
The dinner that important to him?
Well, tonight's the start of the Pesach, the Jewish religion, Passover.
Oh, yeah.
It's one of the big holidays.
Oh, I see.
Well, they started off with this dinner tonight. Is that the way?
Yeah, big dinner. They call them Seders. Tonight they have the first Seder.
Good evening. Sorry to keep you waiting.
How are you?
No, please sit down.
We don't like to intrude on your privacy, Professor Kessel, but I think you can see it's necessary.
Oh, yes, of course. I'm very grateful. If there's anything at all I can do to help.
Do you have any idea who might be responsible for abducting your wife?
That's what has me so confused.
How do you mean, sir?
Well, I'm sure I have people who don't like me, who don't like us, but someone who would take my wife who says they'll kill her? No, I don't know who it could be.
How about the voice on the telephone, Professor? Did you recognize it at all?
No, it didn't sound like anyone I knew. He talked so fast, I could hardly understand the man.
Do you think the person who took your wife has some other motive besides holding her for ransom?
I can't understand that either. If it's money they want, why go after a teacher's wife? $1,500 in the bank, that's all I have. That and this house.
How about your immediate family, Professor?
Well, my wife, Ruth, her people have quite a bit. I guess you would call them rich. But it's their money, not mine. I can't understand why anyone would do it. For Ruth, if anything happened. Children.
Albert?
I'm sorry.
That's all right. We understand.
Albert?
Yes, Bertha, come in, would you, please? Gentlemen, this is my sister, Bertha. She's here with her husband for the Seder.
How are you?
Albert, it's late. Sundown. It's time to start the Kiddush.
Oh, yes. All right, Bertha. You tell everyone to come to the table. I'll be right in.
The officers will have the first Seder with us?
Yes, Bertha. You please set them places.
Yes, Albert.
Say, we don't mean to intrude here. We can wait outside while you have your dinner.
Oh, no, please. I'd be honored to have you sit at the table with us. No one in the house should be without food tonight. First Seder for Passover. It's the law.
How's that, sir?
Oh, excuse me, the Hebrew law. Would you come this way, please?
Yes, Professor.
He turned and led us down the hallway into the dining room. A long white cloth covered the table. In the center was a brightly polished brass candelabra holding 4 lighted tapers. There were a few platters of food already set out, and at the head of the table, where Professor Kessel stood, an open prayer book. In order not to add to the alarm of his 2 small children at the absence of their mother, Professor Kessel introduced us as friends from Simmons College.
This is Mr. Brown, Mr. Friday, Mr. Wiseman, Mr. Romero.
How do you do, Victor?
Yes, of course.
No, sit down, please, sit down.
Yeah, sure smells good.
Yeah, you got enough room there, Joe?
Oh, fine. Hey, how's it work, Wiseman? Should we join in the prayers?
Not unless you speak Hebrew.
Oh.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, bo'erei pri hagofen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bocha banu mikol am, v'raimemanu mikol lashain v'kedishanu b'mitzvosav. V'atiten lanu Adonai Eloheinu, v'avo moyadim l'simcha. Hagim uzmanim l'sosoin es yoim hagamatzos hazeh. The man here is saying, Mikra Kaddish, they hear the Sias Mitzroim.
Yeah, telephone call.
All right.
Friday talking.
This is Lacey, Joe. Just got a call from the morgue.
Yeah?
They brought in the body a few minutes ago. They checked the description.
Yeah?
They think it's Mrs. Kessel.
I went back into the dining room and told Chief Brown about the call. He told Professor Kessel. He said he'd finish as quickly as possible so as not to alarm the children and then go with us to the morgue to check the identity of the body. The prayers continued along with the dinner.
John?
Yes, Papa. Manish dona halalo aseh, mikol halelos, shebachol halelos anu ochlin, chametzu matzah, halalo haseh, kulo matzah.
I'm sorry.
Excuse me.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
Papa?
What was it, Wiseman? What was the boy saying?
It's part of the ceremony during the meal. He's supposed to ask his father certain questions about the Passover, and then the father answers him. I guess it was too much for Kessel.
Sure broke him up.
What'd the boy ask him?
Why is this night different from any other night?
7:30 p.m. Sergeants Wiseman and Donahoe stayed on duty at the house while Chief Brown, Ben, and I drove Professor Kessel to the county morgue. On the way, we called in and checked with Captain Steed of Homicide. He told us there'd been no reports on Mrs. Kessel. 7:43 p.m. Ben and I took Kessel to the basement of the Hall of Justice, county morgue.
This way, Professor.
Oh, yes.
You sure you feel up to it?
Thank you. I'll be all right. Cold in here.
Yes, sir.
Hi, fellas. It's back here.
Okay, Archie.
This is Professor Kessel, Archie.
How do you do?
This way.
Jane Doe, number 5. I called over as soon as they brought it in.
Yeah, thank you.
Found the body near Avenue 19, the riverbed, crossing the auto cab.
No identification?
No. Here we are.
All right. Professor?
Thank God. Thank God.
Professor?
No, it's not my wife.
It seemed as if both the victim and whoever had taken her had vanished completely. At 11:30, Captain Steed, Ben, and I went across the street for a cup of coffee and a fried egg sandwich. We got back to the office at 10 minutes to midnight. Still no word. At 2 a.m., Ben and I drove back to the Kessel house to relieve Donahoe and Wiseman. We stood our watch in the living room. In the bedroom directly above, we could hear Professor Kessel pacing the floor most of the night. At 5 a.m., Captain Steed called. He told us a letter addressed to the professor had been reported at the Arcade Post Office. As soon as the outside of the envelope had been photographed and checked for prints, it would be brought out for Professor Kessel to open.
Front door?
Yeah, I'll get it. Chief?
Good morning.
Hi, Lee.
Hi, Joe.
In here. Did you lift anything off the envelope, Lee?
Nothing we can use, no. Might have more luck with the letter.
Good morning. You brought the letter?
It's right here, Professor Kessel. I'd like you to stand by while we open it. This is Lieutenant Jones from our crime lab.
Lieutenant?
You'll check the note for fingerprints.
Oh, yes. I can get you a letter opener. I think this one over here.
Yeah, that's all right. I could use my pocket knife. You want to grab one corner of the paper, Ben? Just the tip of the corner. Use your fingernail.
Okay.
Yeah, that does it. Open it. And pin down these corners here.
What is it, Fred?
The words are put together with small printed letters. They all seem to be the same kind of typeface.
Letters were probably clipped from a book, then pasted together to form these words.
Who sent it? What does it say?
Thanks, Lee. If you want to see your wife alive, have 30,000 small bills tonight. Tell police I kill her. Instructions follow in mail.
No signature. 30,000. I haven't got the money. I can't get it. He'll kill her.
Mr. Kessel, there's still a chance.
But what can I do? I haven't got that much money. He says he'll kill her. What can we do?
What we've been doing?
Yes?
Wait.
You are listening to Dragnet, the case history of a police investigation, presented in the public interest by Fatima Cigarettes.
Fatima, the long cigarette that has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast. And there's a very good reason for this amazing increase. Men and women everywhere are finding out it's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
I agree, says Lee Silva, news reporter.
I agree, says Jean Matson, airline stewardess.
I agree, says Mike Charters, attorney at law.
I agree, says Bab Beckwith, fashion stylist.
Yes, all agree. It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
So, enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. The king-size cigarette, which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos, superbly blended to make it extra mild.
You will prefer Fatima's much different, much better flavor and aroma.
You will agree.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Best of all, long cigarettes.
Wednesday, 7 a.m. With the aid of an iodine fume gun, Lee Jones checked the extortion letter from Mrs. Kessel's abductor for fingerprints and other marks of identification. He found nothing. The piece of paper on which the cut-out printed letters had been pasted was of a common variety sold in most stationery and 5 and 10 cent stores. Jones photographed both sides of the envelope and the letter. 11 a.m. Still no word. None of the special details had anything to report. At 1:45 p.m., another letter was delivered to the house. The envelope was opened, the letter removed carefully and pinned down at the corners.
It's put together the same as the last one.
Yeah. Tonight, 11 o'clock. Come alone, your car. Tell police I kill her.
Is there more, Friday?
Yeah. Drive corner Lakeshore, Charter Street. Wrap money brown paper. Small bills. Come alone, your car. Put package by fireplug, then leave. Tell police and I kill her. No signature.
I haven't got the money.
Lakeshore and Charter. That shouldn't be too hard for us to catch. Sounds pretty much like an amateur.
That makes it touchy. If he's green, he'll scare easy.
If he's scared, he may kill her.
Not if we reach him.
How can I get the money?
You won't need any. We'll have a dummy package made up. There'll be a single dollar bill inside. There's to be newspapers cut to the size of currency. That's what you'll deliver.
But when he gets the package, when he finds out it's not the money, what's he going to think?
We'll explain it to him. Starting at 10 o'clock that night, more than a dozen cars from the Detective Bureau circled the area around Lakeside Avenue and Charter Street, keeping a distance ranging from 3/4 to a full mile away so as not to scare off the abductor. Some of the cars were parked in service stations, some in private driveways. The neighborhood was located in the heart of a new veterans housing project. For a full 5 blocks in either direction, there were no buildings of any kind where we could keep an eye on the package of fake ransom money. The owner of one of the completed houses nearest the spot on Charter Street was contacted, and he agreed to let us use his home as a lookout point for the stakeout that night. 9 p.m. Ben and I took up our positions on the roof of the lookout house. We were equipped with 2 pair of night binoculars and a walkie-talkie.
I could think of a few other places I'd rather spend the night.
How well can you see that intersection from here?
Comes in fine with these binoculars. The guy shows we ought to see him.
Yeah, I better check with the captain again. What time you got?
9:25. Where's the skipper parked?
Private driveway near Charter and Hayward. Friday to 105K. Friday to 105K. Come in.
Yeah, Joe. Go ahead.
Got a clear view of the intersection. Nothing yet outside of cramped legs. You reading me okay?
Yeah, Joe. Fine. Over.
Roger. Standing by.
Sure lucky my kid can't see me now.
Why?
He'd never understand. Why should his father be sitting on top of somebody's roof late at night? He'd never get it.
We waited. 10 o'clock came, 10:30. At exactly 11 p.m., as we watched through our night binoculars, we saw Professor Kessel drive up to the designated location 5 blocks away, place the fake package of ransom money by the fire hydrant near the intersection, and then drive away. 11:30. We waited. Midnight. 2 a.m. Nothing happened. The package was still lying by the fire hydrant undisturbed. Captain Steed checked with us periodically on the walkie-talkie. At 3:30 a.m., we were still waiting. At a few minutes past 6 a.m., Professor Kessel was directed to return to the intersection, pick up the package, and drive back to his home. His wife's abductor had failed to show. Maybe the suspect had sensed a trap. Maybe he had no idea of showing up in the first place. Maybe Mrs. Kessel was dead. We didn't know. 10 a.m., Thursday. No further contact from the abductor. A special detail from Homicide, including Ben and I, were ordered on a door-to-door canvass of the general area around Lakeside Avenue and Charter Street. After 7 hours of ringing doorbells and asking questions, we came across a Mr. Harold Olander, one of the longtime residents of the Silver Lake area. We showed him the general description of Mrs. Kessel's abductor.
Yeah, that could be Thompson.
Don't know for sure, though.
Where did you see this Thompson, Mr. Olander?
Oh, I saw him lots of times. He rents that cottage of mine down the street there. You see? The white one.
Mm-hmm. Does this Thompson have a car?
Thompson? Yeah, new one.
I wonder if you could describe it.
Chevrolet. Nice looking. Blue color, I think.
Could be, Joe.
Is Thompson in the house now, Mr. Olander?
Nope. Saw him drive away early this morning. I can show you the house if it's official police business.
It is.
Well, come on, then. I got the key right here. Cottage just down the block there. See the one I mean? The white one?
Yes, sir. How long's Thompson been in the house?
2 weeks tomorrow.
You noticed anything unusual about him?
Nothing special. Comes and goes at odd hours. Then a lot of people do. I don't pry. Sit out right here.
Does he usually keep all the blinds drawn?
Yeah, now that you mention it. A lot of people do, I guess.
You want to check back in the kitchen, Ben?
Yeah, right.
And look at the living room, Sergeant.
Yeah.
On a stick of furniture. That's funny.
You sure you didn't see anybody else in this house besides Thompson?
No, he's the only one.
Looks like it, Joe. Found this woman's purse stuffed in one of the kitchen cabinets. This sales slip was in the purse.
Let's see. This is Albert Kessel. Is there a phone here, Mr. Olander?
Out in the hall.
All right.
Is it still connected?
Yeah.
Joe, I'll check back in the bedrooms while you're phoning.
Right, Ben. No, you better stay with me, Mr. Olander, if you will.
All right.
City Hall.
Homicide?
Homicide?
You any idea where this Thompson is now, Mr. Olander?
No, he comes and goes. I don't like to pry.
Homicide, Steve.
This Friday, Skipper, we got one for you.
I've got one for you. Mrs. Kessel, she's been found.
Mrs. Kessel was unharmed. She had no idea where she had been or why she had been suddenly released. All additional information which she could furnish on the suspect was immediately relayed to the entire state in an APB. 2 hours later, at a neighborhood garage Thompson patronized, we got his license number. We ran it through DMV and found the car was registered in the name of Charles Cottrell, 10115 Green Oak Drive, 7 p.m.
Yes?
Police officers. Is Charles Cottrell here?
Yes. Come in, please. I knew you'd find him. I kept hoping, but I knew you'd find him.
Where is he, ma'am?
He'll give himself up. I'm his wife. I talked to him. There won't be any trouble. No trouble.
Where is he?
You've got to understand, he didn't know what he was doing. We needed money. He didn't know what he was doing.
We'll have to search the house, ma'am.
Charlie! Charlie, come downstairs! Come down!
Get your hands behind your head.
I don't have a gun.
Charlie.
All right, Ben.
Behind your back.
Tell him, Charlie. You didn't know what you were doing. Tell him.
We needed the money. I thought it'd work. What'd I do wrong?
Come on.
Should have worked. I planned it all out. Where'd I make a mistake?
When you thought of it.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On August 2nd, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 86, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
It's amazing how many long cigarette smokers are changing to extra mild Fatima. Here is the actual report.
From coast to coast, Extra Mild Fatima has more than doubled its smokers.
Yes, more and more smokers every day are discovering that Fatima is the king-size cigarette that is extra mild.
Extra mild because it contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild, to give it a much different, much better flavor and aroma.
Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. Best of all long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Cottrell was tried and convicted of kidnapping and received the sentence as prescribed by law. He is now serving his term in the state penitentiary. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.A. Wharton, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, the best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles. Next, here's Sarah Berner in Sarah's Private Caper on NBC.
The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to hit-and-run felony detail. A dead body is found in the streets in the early hours of the morning. There's only one clue, a set of skid marks on the pavement. Your job, find the killer.
If you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke extra mild Fatima. Yes, Fatima is the king-size cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild, to give Fatima a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. That's why Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast. Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. Best of all long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Monday, April 19th. It was windy in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of traffic division. My partner is Ben Romero. The boss is Lieutenant Calfrey, Commander AID. My name's Friday. It was 7:55 a.m. when I got to the second floor at 123 South Figueroa Street. Accident investigation. Hit and run felony detail.
Morning, Joe.
George?
Yeah. How is it?
Oh, it's not much better. Still aching.
Rough.
The lousy thing kept me up most of the night.
Check with that dentist I told you about?
Yeah, I did. Says it's a wisdom tooth. Yeah? This one here.
Oh, yeah.
Says it's got to come out. I'm supposed to go back and see him today.
That's rough. Remember, a friend of mine had his wisdom teeth out. Hurt like the devil. Terrible. Finally pulled him. Ached for 5 or 6 days after.
Roger.
Excuse me, Joe. Yeah, McGee.
Better have a 57 on that follow-up you handled yesterday, huh?
Okay. I got most of it down. I'll finish it up.
Friday?
Hi. Ben come in yet?
He's down the record bureau. Let's see that jaw of yours. Hasn't gone down much.
It's a bad wisdom tooth. Dentist says he's going to have to yank it.
Bum deal, man.
That's the first time I ever had any trouble with him.
I remember a few years back my sister Gertrude had trouble with a wisdom tooth in Pacton.
Yeah?
Whole side of her face was swollen. Poor kid was in terrible pain, full week. Even after they pulled it still hurt.
Hi, Joe. Picked up the overnight reports down at Records, Mac, here.
Oh, thanks, Ben. This one on top here. I'd like to have you two check it out.
Dead body report.
Yeah. They left me a note on it. That's about all. Hard to figure.
What's the story?
Just what you see in the report.
The victim was Edward Raymond Stokes, 732 Delano Street, apartment 2.
His body was found in the gutter near 63rd and Vermont, 3 o'clock this morning. No witnesses. Only one piece of evidence.
Yeah, see, they got it listed here. Skid marks near the body. Is that all?
That's it. Apparent hit and run.
Where's the body, man?
Neighborhood mortuary out there. Emerald Hills Funeral Home. One of the deputy coroners handled the body. A fellow named Joe Larimore.
Anybody claim it yet?
No.
Okay. Ben, you ready?
Yeah, let's go.
We'll check you later, man.
Yeah. If you need any help, I've got McClendon and Rogers on hand.
Right.
How do we manage to draw all the choice ones?
I don't know.
Skid marks and a dead body.
Yeah.
Oh, say, I almost forgot. How's your jaw?
Oh, it still hurts.
Oh, it's tough. And still swollen.
Mm-hmm.
What did Dennis say?
Wisdom tooth.
Oh, miserable.
Yeah.
Wife had the same thing a couple of years back. Dennis tried to yank the tooth and it broke right in two. Finally got it out.
That's good.
Funny thing about wisdom teeth.
What's that?
After they pull them. Hurts for 5-6 days.
.33 a.m. Ben and I drove out to 63rd in Vermont and rechecked the spot where the dead body of Edward Stokes had been found. According to the report, the body was found 2 feet west of the easterly curb and 32 north of 63rd Street on Vermont. We examined the skid marks. They showed definite signs of being a lot older than 24 hours. The consistency of the rubber was weak, and there were heavy dirt smudges over them, indicating more wear than they could have possibly had since the estimated time of the victim's death. We got back in the car and drove to the Emerald Hills Funeral Home at Vernon and Denver Avenue.
Sure is rotten weather for April, huh?
Yeah.
These funeral homes, you ever notice it?
What's that?
Why do they always put awnings over the windows? They never open a drape.
I don't know. Come on. Funeral going on. You know where the office is?
There's a brass plate on that door over there.
Let's have a look.
Yes, sir.
Here's somebody, Jim.
Oh.
Gentlemen, may I be of service?
Police officers. I'd like to talk to Mr. Larimore. I believe he's a deputy coroner.
I'm Mr. Larimore. You came about the hit-and-run victim?
Yeah, that's right. This is Sergeant Romero. My name's Friday. We'd like to check the body if we could.
Certainly. It's back this way.
Understand you moved the body from the scene of the accident here to the mortuary.
Yes, that's right. Early this morning. Unusual case. Careful, there's 2 steps down just inside the door.
Oh, thank you. Why do you say it's unusual, Mr. Larimore?
Well, here, let me show you. There. Now, for one thing, the victim had a basal skull fracture. I don't know about you gentlemen, but in the hit-and-run cases I've handled, a basal fracture's a pretty rare thing.
Well, it is possible, isn't it?
Yes, it's possible. Anything's possible, as they say. But it's not usual. A few other things here, too.
Yeah.
Notice the victim's knee here. Single clean cut. Also these wounds on the head. I've never seen anything like it in hit-and-run cases I've been called in.
Yeah, that wound on the knee doesn't jive, does it? If he was hit by a car, the knee should be skinned up quite a bit.
Exactly. Well, you know how it usually is. The automobile hits the victim. There's always signs that the body was either dragged or thrown. Shredding of clothing, skin knees, legs, elbows. No sign of that here.
You don't think the victim could have been killed by hit-and-run cars, eh?
No, I don't say that. It's possible that it might have been a car, but, well, let's say it's not very probable.
Has anybody at all inquired about the body, Mr. Larimore?
No one, no.
It's funny.
Hold on. Mr. Larimore, may I see a minute, please?
All right, Tom. Excuse me a moment?
Yeah, sure.
Well?
Yeah. Where do we start?
I don't know. Maybe we won't have to. Another lead like this, and we can turn it over to homicide.
Sergeant?
Yeah?
There's a young lady in the lobby.
Yeah?
She wants to claim the body.
The girl was shown the body. She identified it as that of Edward Raymond Stokes. She gave her name as Marion Fuller, the victim's common-law wife. After she recovered from her shock, she asked if she might sit down for a while and rest. We took her into one of the offices in the mortuary, and Ben got her a glass of water. She told us that she had last seen Stokes alive at about 1 a.m. that morning. They'd been drinking together at a neighborhood bar on Vermont Avenue between 63rd and 64th Streets, half a block from where the victim's body had been found sprawled in the gutter. Why don't you sit down over there, Miss Fuller?
Thanks.
How long did you know Edward Stokes, Miss Fuller?
About 6 years. On and off. We've been together pretty much the last couple of years, though. Oh, my head.
Would you mind telling us exactly what happened while you were with Stokes last night? Everything you can remember?
I can't think. This headache's killing me.
I wish you'd try, Miss Fuller. It's important.
Well, Eddie and I had dinner together at the Spanish Oven, place down on South Fig. That was about 7:45. Then we drove out to the Brown Barrel in Vermont, the bar I told you about.
Yeah.
Eddie and I go there most of the time. We stayed there and drank, played a little shuffleboard. Oh.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, we stayed too long. Drank a little too much. I started talking to this fella next to me, and he got sore. Always got jealous when he was drunk. Poor Eddie.
Did Eddie fight with this other man, Miss Fuller?
No, I stopped him. That made Eddie mad. He never could drink right. He always wanted to pick a fight.
Who was the other man, you remember?
No, I don't. I guess I had a lot to drink, too. He was just some guy at the bar. His headache.
Well, it's not going to take much longer. Just a few more questions.
That organ's getting on my nerves.
What happened after you broke up the argument between Stokes and the other man?
Oh, nothing. We stayed in the bar. Eddie played shuffleboard most of the time. I was one of the booths drinking.
Yeah.
Around 1 o'clock, I started feeling sick, so I went outside and sat in the car. I guess I passed out there.
In your car?
No. I guess it belonged to one of the fellows in the bar. I passed out, and that's all I can remember.
Did you sleep in the car all night?
No. I guess whoever owned it drove me home.
Well, how did they know where you lived?
It must have been one of her friends. I don't know. I don't remember anything until this morning. They phoned me up and said Eddie was dead.
Who phoned you, Miss Fuller?
One of our friends. I don't remember. I had a rotten headache.
Well, you can do better than that.
I tell you, I don't remember. They phoned and told me Eddie was dead. Somebody ran Eddie down.
All right.
Where are we going?
Downtown. We'll have a stenographer take your statement.
Oh, I got a terrible hangover. I've never had one as bad as this.
Neither has Eddie. Let's go. On the way back to the office, Ben stopped at a drugstore and I picked up a box of aspirin. The wisdom tooth was giving me trouble again. The clerk at the soda fountain fixed something for Marion Fuller's hangover. When we got her back to the office, we questioned her for more than an hour, but she gave us only one additional piece of information. The victim, Eddie Stokes, had been married before and divorced. His ex-wife lived out in the valley with their 2 children, and on several occasions she came to see Stokes at the Vermont Avenue bar when he failed to make the monthly payments for the support of the children. Each time they'd argued bitterly. We had a police stenographer take the Fuller woman's statement, and then she was released. 10:45 a.m., Sergeants Rogers and McClendon were assigned to check out the Vermont Avenue bar where Stokes had last been seen alive. Ben and I drove out to the valley to the home of Catherine Stokes, the victim's former wife. She met us on the front porch. Inside, it sounded like one of the children was practicing the piano. We told her what had happened.
Last week, I think it was. Yes, Thursday last week. Eddie hadn't sent any money for the kids' support for 3 months. I hated to chase after him like that. There wasn't anything else I could do.
Where did you meet him, Miss Stokes?
That bar he used to hang around. It's over on Vermont, called the Brown Barrel or something.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wouldn't you like to come inside?
Yes, thank you. Do you happen to know anybody by the name of Marion Fuller?
Yes, Eddie mentioned her. There's a man seeing a woman like that.
Do you know anything about her at all?
No. Whenever I saw Eddie, he'd mention he was running around with her. Guess he wanted to make me jealous.
Was your husband a pretty heavy drinker?
Yes, he was. So I got the divorce. Eddie was such a fine boy when we got married. Good home.
You didn't know any of the people he'd been running around with lately?
No, just the Fuller woman, that's all.
Can you think of anything at all that might possibly have a bearing on his death?
No. Eddie was probably drinking, wandered in the street, and a car hit him. I don't know. Oh, there's the bakery man. I've got to get some bread and a few things. Excuse me?
I think that's about all, don't you, Joe? Yeah. I'll tell you, I'll leave our card here, Miss Stokes, in case you want to contact us for any reason.
All right. It was so wonderful when we were married, Eddie and I. My folks gave us this house as a wedding present. We got wonderful presents.
Yeah.
We had everything we wanted. A car, nice house, kids. It was wonderful till he started drinking. Then everything went. His job, everything. Started all of a sudden. I never knew why.
Yes, ma'am.
How do men get that way? How do they start?
I don't know. We only see a part of it.
Yeah?
When they finish. 12 noon, Ben and I drove back into town to Vermont and 63rd Street for a meet with Sergeants Rogers and McClendon. They told us that they checked out the bartender who'd been on duty the night before and also 7 of his customers. Their stories were almost identical. Each of them remembered seeing Eddie Stokes at the bar. Each of them remembered he was playing shuffleboard, that he was drinking heavily, and that he left the bar at about 1:45 a.m. All of us had the idea that for some reason the bartender and the customers were lying. In most cases, it's hard to find 2 witnesses who tell identical stories, let alone 7. For the rest of that afternoon, Rogers, McClendon, Ben, and I spent our time canvassing the neighborhood in the vicinity of the Brown Barrel Tavern. 4:45 p.m. We talked to the proprietor of a small grocery store 2 blocks down the street from the tavern. He told us that he rarely visited the bar, but that he thought that the man who ran the butcher shop next to his place, Mr. Eugene Murray, was a regular patron of the Brown Barrel. So we went next door.
Could you make that 2 pounds of ground round, Mr. Murray? We're having company tonight.
Yes, ma'am. 2 pounds.
Nice-looking meat, son, Joe. Yeah, the steaks look good, don't they?
Mm-hmm. 2 pounds. All right. Anything else now, Mrs. Gidney? Got some nice fresh kidneys today.
No, George won't touch kidneys. That'll be all. You put it on the bill, won't you, Mr. Murray?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, sir, gentlemen. Can I help you?
Police officers, Mr. Murray. I'd like to ask you a few questions.
Oh, sure. Glad to help out if I can.
Have you ever been in the Brown Barrel Tavern down the next block there?
Brown Barrel? I go there all the time. Say, would you mind if I fix up an order while we're talking? The customer's going to pick it up in a couple of minutes. I don't like to keep waiting.
Sure, go ahead.
I got to go to the ice box.
When's the last time you were in the Brown Barrel, Mr. Murray?
Last night. Wife and I went to the movies. One of them English pictures. Lousy picture. We dropped in at the barrel on the way home for a beer.
About what time was that?
Pretty close to 2. What's the matter? Some kind of trouble?
Did you notice anything unusual while you were in there? Anybody fighting or arguing?
No, we were only in there a couple of minutes, but now that you mention it, there was something funny happen.
What was that?
Well, the bartender Carl and a half dozen of the neighborhood gang were back in one of the booths talking together. They seemed kind of nervous. None of them seemed to be having a good time.
Yeah.
The wife and I yelled hello at them, but they kind of gave us a go-by. Then this drunk came up to us. Say, officer, would you reach that knife for me?
Which one?
That one.
Oh, yeah, here you are.
Yeah, thanks.
Go ahead.
Yeah, well, this drunk came up to us and whispers to me, say, you better get out of here. There's been a fight. Hey, isn't that a beautiful piece of meat? Well, I didn't pay much attention to him. He was pretty drunk, could hardly understand him. I guess they have a lot of fights in there anyway.
Is that all he told you? There'd been a fight?
Yeah, that time. But he came back a couple of minutes later and whispered the same thing. You better get out. There's been a fight, he said. The wife and I just laughed at him.
Mm-hmm.
He said, I know all about it. A guy's been murdered.
You are listening to Dragnet, the case history of a police investigation presented in the public interest by Fatima Cigarettes.
Fatima, the long cigarette that has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast. And there's a very good reason for this amazing increase. Men and women everywhere are finding out it's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
I agree, says Dick Hyland, sports columnist.
I agree, says Shirley Gelman, registered nurse.
I agree, says Frank Fenton, author.
I agree, says Nancy Appel, news writer.
Yes, all agree. It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
So, enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. The king-size cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild.
You will prefer Fatima's much different, much better flavor and aroma.
You will agree.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Best of all, long cigarettes.
6 p.m. Ben and I went back to homicide to turn the case over to them. They asked us to handle the investigation for another day because they were short of men at the moment and because there was still a big doubt as to whether or not Eddie Stokes had really been murdered. Actually, the only solid lead we had was the second-hand testimony of a drunken witness, that and the deputy coroner's doubts that Stokes was actually the victim of a hit-and-run. Mr. Murray, the butcher, didn't know the name of the man who told him that there'd been a murder, and he could give us only a meager description. We brought Marion Fuller back in and re-questioned her. She stuck to her story. She didn't remember anything. She was released again. It looked like we were in for a long night. We went across the street for a bowl of soup and a sandwich, and when we got back, Ben called his wife and told her he'd be working late. I called my mother.
Working late again? Oh, Joseph. How's your tooth feeling?
Well, it's a little better, Ma. It's still pretty tender. I'm going to go to the dentist tomorrow.
Yes, you've got to have that attended to right away. Bad teeth can poison your whole system. You be sure and see that dentist. Is he a good one?
Yeah, he's okay. One of the fellas down there told me about him. I'll see you a little later, huh? Don't wait up.
Yes. And you don't work too late, Joseph. You need your rest.
Yeah, okay, Ma. Goodbye.
All right, Joseph. Goodbye.
Joe.
Yeah.
Just talked to that butcher's wife on the phone, Miss Murray.
What'd she have to say?
Asked her the same questions we asked Murray. She couldn't add much. Same story.
You got something for me?
Yeah, Matt?
Rogers and McClendon just called in. They're still out at that bar.
Yeah?
Finally got somebody to talk a little.
What'd they get?
The bar boy out there. He says there was a fight happened about 1:30. Doesn't remember who was fighting.
Not much help?
Bar boy's name is Milner. He told Rogers he went outside about 20 minutes to 2 to put the garbage out. He saw the Fuller woman asleep in that car.
You get the license number?
No. Said there was a ticket on the windshield.
Ben and I checked with the sergeant of the watch at 77th Street Division. He told us Unit 111 was assigned to the area where the brown barrel was located. In checking their worksheet, we found that Unit 111 had issued a hang-on citation the night before to a car parked near 6330 and 1/2 Vermont Avenue, the address of the Brown Barrel Tavern. We checked the license number through DMV and found that the car was registered to a William R. Huddy, 14 Naylor Street. We drove out to the Naylor Street address and talked to Huddy's wife. She told us he was playing in a shuffleboard tournament that night at a bar down on South Olive Street. 8:55 p.m. We checked in at the bar.
Bartender.
Oh, yes, sir. What'll it be?
Do you know if there's a William Huddy in here? He's supposed to be playing a shuffleboard game here tonight.
Oh, yeah, I know him. He's with the Highland Park team. Yeah, let me see. Yeah, that's him up now, out on the blue shirt.
Thank you. Come on, Ben.
That's it, Bill. Good weight. Make it another 3. That cleans him. Good one, Bill.
Yeah, that's pretty close. Beat that one, Max.
Excuse me?
Yeah?
Are you William Huddy?
Yeah, that's right.
Police officers. We'd like to talk to you a minute.
Oh? What about?
I'd like to ask you a few questions. You step over here a minute.
Yeah, all right.
Were you at the Brown Barrel Tavern out on Vermont last night?
Yeah, I was. Why, what's the matter?
You know Marion Fuller?
Yeah, she hangs around the place. She goes with a guy named Eddie.
Did you drive her home last night?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I did. She passed out in my car. She's a nice kid, but she drinks a lot. I drove her home.
Do you mind telling us what happened at the bar last night when you were there?
Well, I come in about 9 o'clock and I started playing shuffleboard with a couple of guys. This guy, Eddie Stokes, is one of them.
Yeah?
We got in a beef with a guy at the bar over Marion. It's nothing big, though. The guy left after a while.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
That's about all. I left the place around 1:30, and this Eddie was beefing with some merchant seaman about that time.
Was the Fuller girl still at the bar at that time?
No, when I went outside, I saw her sleeping in my car, so I drove her home. I left her off and then come back to the bar. That's when they told me.
Told you what?
Well, they said Eddie had a fight with this merchant seaman. They said it'd be better if we kept it quiet.
Who told you that?
Call the bartender. But I got the real story from one of the fellas I was playing shuffleboard with, Leo McCarty.
What did he tell you?
Well, he said that when Eddie Stokes left, the merchant seaman followed him out. He said he chased Eddie. McCarty went out about 5 minutes later.
Yeah?
Well, the merchant seaman was gone, and Stokes was lying in the gutter down the street.
Mm-hmm. Did McCarty look at him?
Yeah, he said Stokes looked pretty bad. So he looked like he was dead, but I wouldn't believe that.
Why not?
This McCarty always exaggerates.
10:15 p.m. We had William Huddy come back to the office with us, where we questioned him further and took his statement. Then we had his friend Leo McCarty brought in, along with a bartender at the Brown Barrel Tavern and the customers that he'd framed his story with. McCarty was the first to give us the straight story, and then the others followed. The bartender, Carl Jansen, who also owned the bar, was the last to break.
How about it, Jansen? Why didn't we get a straight story to begin with?
Well, what about the publicity? How would that look? A murder around my place.
Could work out worse than that, Mr. Jansen. You've been withholding evidence. You talked these people into the same deal.
I'd protect myself. The newspapers, all the scandal, the recommends business. I had to keep it quiet. It's not my fault that Stokes was killed. I didn't do it. I'm not to blame.
No, but you know who is to blame. Now, how about it? Who is he?
Oh, he works on the ships. Comes in here most of the time when he's in port.
What's his name?
Henry Baxter. I've cashed some of his paychecks.
Ben, you better get the captain, huh?
Yeah.
Hit and run felony Friday. Oh, yeah. No, just a minute. For you, Jansen.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Yes. Oh. Yes, Rita. Just a minute. Sergeant.
Yeah.
It's my wife. She's at the bar now. She thought you ought to know.
Yeah?
Henry Baxter. Frida says he just came in.
I talked to Jansen's wife and told her to delay Baxter as long as possible without arousing his suspicions. 11:25 p.m. Ben and I and Mr. Jansen, along with Rogers and McClendon, drove out to the Brown Barrel Tavern on Vermont. When we got there, Baxter was gone. Mrs. Jansen told us he was pretty drunk by the time he left the bar. She'd watched him go down one block, cross the street, and then enter a small nightclub on the opposite side called the Pink Shamrock. She'd been keeping an eye on the place, and as far as she knew, Baxter was still inside. We went down the street to the nightclub. Rogers and McClendon covered the back entrance. We got inside in the middle of a floor show. A blonde was doing some kind of a dance.
Can you spot him, Mr. Jansen?
No, I don't see him yet.
How about over on this side, back in the corner there?
No, he's not there. It's so dark in here, I can't see too well anyway.
There's the rear exit to the place. He could have slipped out that way.
Gentlemen, like to have your picture taken? Souvenir photograph?
No, thanks. Maybe we better check with the waiter, Ben.
Sergeant, just a minute. That man over there at that table.
Where?
Yeah, I'm almost positive.
Where?
Right there, next to that pillar. Just behind it, you see. Yeah, that's him.
All right. Come on, Ben. You stay right here, Mr. Jansen.
You bet.
Waiter. Hey, waiter. Another Coke High. You, waiter. Another Coke High.
Your name is Henry Baxter?
Yeah, that's right. What?
Police officers like to talk to you.
Yeah. Well, down.
Outside.
Outside nothing. Can't see the show.
Let's go outside. Come on, Baxter.
Hey, wait a minute. What's the beef anyway?
You know what the beef is.
Sure, I know what the beef is.
Come on, let's go.
The lousy punk Eddie Stokes trying to give me a bad time. Now he knows what a bad time is.
Baxter, come on.
Lousy punk Stokes. I showed him how it's done.
Keep your voice down.
I slugged him. Pounded his head on the curb. He was drunk. He never knew what happened.
Come on, outside.
Hey, everybody, I killed Eddie Stokes. I killed him.
Right down. Let's get him out of here.
Yeah, okay.
How's that tooth feel, Joe?
Seems okay.
Better have the dentist yank it out first thing in the morning.
I think I'll hold off for a while.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
On July 30th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 87, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
It's amazing how many long cigarette smokers are changing to extra mild Fatima. Here is the actual report.
From coast to coast, Extra Mild Fatima has more than doubled its smokers.
Yes, more and more smokers every day are discovering that Fatima is the king-size cigarette that is extra mild.
Extra mild because it contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild, to give it a much different, much better flavor and aroma.
Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. Best of all, long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Henry John Baxter was tried and convicted in Superior Court of manslaughter. He received the sentence as prescribed by law and is now serving his term in the state penitentiary. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.A. Wharton, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles. Sarah Berner stars in Sarah's Private Caper next on NBC.